Coming to you from the Troy Lee Design Saloon in Corona, California, it's the Whiskey Throttle Show, bringing you the legends and leaders of our sport with your host, David Pingree. This week's guest is brought to you by Yamaha, the leaders in the power sports industry. Motocross bikes, street bikes, adventure bikes, generators, side-by-sides, quads, boats. Yamaha sets the standard. Yamaha revs your heart. Today's guest is presented by Therabody, the world leader in human performance, wellness, and recovery. The pioneers of percussive therapy, Therabody changed the game with the Theragun device. Their arsenal has grown to include recovery compression systems, powered electric muscle stimulators, adjustable vibrating foam rollers, and a complete line of organic wellness solutions with their Thera One lineup. Whether you are a world-class athlete or you are just looking to improve your overall health, Therabody has the tools to help. Today's show brought to you in part by Method Race Wheels, the strongest, lightest, fastest wheels in off-road. Method dominates the off-road market, and they have the wheels for your truck, sprinter, SUV, Jeep, or van. SKDA Graphics. SKDA has turned the motorcycle graphic design world on its head by bringing a fast, fresh look into the sport. From outside-the-box designs to retro looks to a complete line of Whiskey Throttle show graphics, SKDA is operating on a completely different plane than the rest. With free global shipping on orders of over $100 and unrivaled customer service, right now is the time to freshen up the look of your ride. Troy Lee Designs. Built for the world's fastest racers, Troy Lee Designs blends elite-level protection with a history of industry-leading style and performance. From motocross gear to custom paint to bicycle protection, Troy Lee Designs is waiting for you on the next level.
It's March 2022, and thank you for tuning into the Whiskey Throttle Show. I'm your host, David Pingree, and with me today, a good friend of mine, legend in the motorcycle world, Mr. Bevo Forte.
Well, Ping, I'm really privileged to be here, but does legend mean I'm an old guy?
Well, sometimes it does.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to let you determine whether or not you fit into that category, but you've been a fixture in this sport for, 45 years, maybe more?
73 was my first professional race.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been.
You've been in the sport longer than I've been alive. So,
well, I'm going to tell you one thing. As the famous baseball player said one time, I'm the luckiest man in the world to be able to do what I wanted to do for 50 years.
Yeah, you've really never had a job.
I've had jobs, but I've never thought I had a job.
Yeah, that's it. That's the trick. You've figured life out.
Yep. Well, I can't give you the secret because it just happened.
you just fell into it?
Coming from a coal region town in Pennsylvania, and our first dealership was Bob's Bultaco, and in the back, and in the front was Miller's Funeral Home.
Oh, so if you killed yourself on a bike, you knew where to go, back to the same place.
With the same phone, too.
Okay.
So when sometimes somebody call in about their loved one passing away, and you'd say Bob's Bultaco, they go, I thought this was Miller's Funeral Home, I mean, that's, I'm telling you, when I started, that was when little shops, mom and pop shops, pop bellies spit on in the winter and just discuss, get that cabin fever, for the spring. It was a real good time.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're going to go through it all. We start here with the Method Race Wheels front end chatter. Fans of the show be familiar with this. They bring in the lightest, strongest, fastest wheels in off-road for your truck, van, sprinter, UTV, SUV. If you're looking for a competitive wheel to actually go out and mob through the desert, or if you just want to make your ride look a lot better, get over to methodracewheels.com. Use our code WhiskeyThrottle at checkout for 20% off, and you'll be looking good and having a lot better wheel on your rig. I want to start a couple questions here during this segment. What's the best race you've ever seen? I mean, I don't know how many races you've probably seen. I don't know if you have a total number in your head, but if you roll back through that Rolodex, what's the best one you ever watched?
Well, that would have to be the Grand Prix not the Grand Prix, the Motocross the Nations in Holland.
Okay.
When Jeff Stanton had a win for us to win the trophy.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he went down in the first turn. And back then it was 45 minutes plus 2 laps. And he was basically in third place with 2 or 3 laps to go, like 30 seconds behind first, and caught him and won, and we won the trophy.
You're kidding me.
That was a very, and, there was, he just was like on fire that day. And
30 seconds and 2 laps. How do you even make that up?
You've been to Holland, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. I understand the sand, but
the sand, and
I have to go back and watch that. You remember what year it was? 92, maybe. 91?
I'd say he was on a Honda, but he was on a Honda his whole career. So,
well, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I remember vaguely that race, but I'm going to go back and watch it.
And the funny thing about it is, as you well known, when you got your whole side at High Point, I would be on the side of the track waving you on.
Yeah.
Well, he said when he came around and saw me waving really hard, he said, "Oops, I better get going." And he actually, when he tells the story about that race, he always says, "When I saw Bevo there waving me on," he said, "that just gave me extra energy."
Yeah, that's awesome. Man, not many guys could have probably pulled that off, huh?
No.
Yeah, Jeff
no.
was a special one.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there was a couple other ones, like a lot of the, Bob Hanna wasn't noted for his starts, and he'd just do some crazy stuff. I mean, L.A. Coliseum when he came from last and passed Bell and to go in the lead, and then falls again and comes out that turnstile, and there's sparks coming off the wall because his foot's hitting it. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, he was pretty exciting to watch too.
Yeah, every race with Bob was probably a lot of fun. Okay, so let me ask you this: your career spanned 40, sounds like more like 48 years now, 49. Dirty riding versus aggressive racing. This has been a popular or contentious topic in 22 here. Where's that line between, or where do you think it goes from being dirty to, hey man, that's just racing, And I argue with this in my head too, myself, thinking, man, we need to stop being such pussies here. Like hockey guys, they literally will just grab each other by the jersey and start fighting, and the refs let them. That's part of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying we need to do that, but we get all upset when our favorite rider gets block passed.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he doesn't go down, we're like, hey, that was dirty. I can't believe that.
Well,
is that a new phenomenon? Because I mean, there's been aggressive and / dirty racing since the beginning of time.
Oh yeah, like a classic example, if you want to talk about it. I mean, Hannah was at a race in Europe, and Håkan Karlqvist clobbered him. And after the race, Bob goes over and says, "Hey, what did you do that for?" And you know what Karlqvist said? "We're not playing baseball." So, anyway, my idea of dirty, a real takeout is where the front wheel hits the guy.
Yeah, T-bone.
Yeah, a T-bone is definitely maybe an accident because he couldn't hit his brake or he planned it.
Yeah.
And I believe that is dirty racing. Touching somebody or giving them a little bump to make a pass, I don't believe that's dirty racing. And I just think it's sort of like if you're in a car accident, whose fault is it? If you get hit in the rear, it's
always that guy's fault in the back. Yeah.
Because or if you're coming out of a stop sign and a guy hits you from the door back, that's his fault.
Yeah.
Or T-bones you.
Yeah.
So I just think that's probably what I consider is dirty riding.
So you don't get all upset when we have, contact and one or both guys go down.
Well, the thing is I don't get excited unless they're wearing my goggle. If they're wearing 100%, I get excited. When you see like your championship guy going into a monster banner, yeah, that kind of
a little upsetting.
Gets your blood going a little bit. But the thing is everybody has to realize that decisions on the racetrack.
Yeah,
it's not like Now, if a guy, you can tell when a guy's planning it, that. Mm-hmm. When they go high and try to slow the guy down so he can't go around. That's all pre-planned. But sometimes in a fast session, it's like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making a million decisions in a half a second.
Right.
And sometimes they're not all great.
Right. And at my age, I need about 2 minutes to make a decision.
That's good stuff. All right. Hey, get over to whiskeythrottleshow.com. Lots of cool stuff going on over there. A whole new line of merchandise. We've got flannels for the winter, beanies. We've got wash buckets from Motul. These things are awesome. If you're looking for a Father's Day gift, that's the one. Anyway, lots of neat stuff over there. Go check that out. And our guest today, we're going to get to his story now here. Bevo's. Huh?
Where's my swag?
I'm going to set you up. I brought you a T-shirt. That's all I had with me. But I'm going to set you up with whatever you want.
Wow. You're telling me about all this cool stuff on your website, and I'm going, I could use a bucket. I could use a shirt. I could use a beanie.
I'm going to hook you up. Bevo's brought to you today by Therabody. Get over there to therabody.com. They've got the Theragun, Power Dots, all kinds of really cool products for injury maintenance and management, injury recovery, sore muscle recovery, really cool stuff. So check them out.
One more.
What do you got?
Do I get?
You want all that too?
Do I get like?
I gotta send you everything.
Do I get like a parting gift?
Yes.
Thing, you know?
I got you one. A swag bag. All right. So tell me about where you grew up. You're a PA guy, right?
Yes, sir.
What part?
The coal region. If I tell you, Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And where is that?
Yeah.
About 2 miles past the stop sign.
Okay. Give me a big city. Where are you from Pittsburgh?
4 hours. Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
Okay. Gotcha. Fun area to grow up in?
Oh, unbelievable. When you wanted to go trail riding, obviously we're in the coal region and there's all kinds of old mining roads
yeah.
And there's stripping pits for hill climbs, and it was great. We could go out trail riding. At that time, you could leave right from your house. Okay, you put a hooker header on your bike and you could go down the road, and it was nothing. You didn't need a license, nothing. So it was great. You could go right out your back door, get on a cold trail, and we could ride probably 3 days and never have to go across the same trail.
Wow.
And that's actually how I met the Pollock, John Savitsky.
Well, we'll get to that. He was your first rider when you got into your mechanic.
No, he's the first guy that blew up my knee. You see, back then, in 1970, when I got my Suzuki Savage, it came with tail lights, blinkers, everything. So what you would do is you'd get a box, put all that stuff in, then you go out, get an exhaust pipe, you'd make it into a dirt bike.
Yeah, it was like an enduro bike.
It was a street and trail kind of thing, because it came with some, like, not knobbies, but like trials tires.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would take all of that stuff, put it in a box. So when you sell it, you put it all back on. It looks like it never was in the dirt.
Yeah, right.
And that's basically, unfortunately, the first time I met Savitsky. I went out on my new bike, and I bump into this he was about 15, and I bump into this kid, and he goes, "Hey, you want to go riding with me?" Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, my headlight was smashed, my brake lights were gone, my knee was bleeding,
He really beat you up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How old were you when you got that first bike?
Well, my parents weren't, really into it, so probably 21.
Oh, so it was later it started for you.
When I could buy it myself.
Yeah. So what did you do as a kid? Did you play other sports? Or what were you into?
How is this PG?
Well, we try to keep it a family show, but you can say what you want.
No, I was like...
I mean, look, you're a boy. I know what you were into.
Yeah. I was into just... let's see. We did a lot of sports and stuff because in our neighborhood there was like 35 kids.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Where I grew up, there's, people had a lot of children, and so we did a lot of that kind of stuff. We'd go out in the morning, and I don't understand how. Well, I'm gonna try to figure out how to say this. We had this creek where actually human waste went in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and would go through the town. And we'd go down there and shoot rats and
the plumbing just ran into this creek?
Yes, sir. You're talking like 1952 or 3, 4 or whatever, right? And
wow.
Sorry, I'm an old guy.
No, that's okay.
Anyway, and we'd just do that. We'd go out of the house in the morning and wouldn't come back till the afternoon.
Yeah.
We'd be just hopping on trains and doing that kind of stuff. And You know, and the thing is if you didn't fall in the crap creek.
Is that what you guys called it? What'd you call it?
No.
Yeah. Shit Creek.
Beep creek. Okay. You weren't a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, and
you guys had to have ridden your bicycles through it and stuff, right?
Oh, everything. And it was like little rocks you had to get on to cross it, and it'd fall. I mean, but the amazing part is nobody ever got sick.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You lived somehow.
Yeah. And then there were stripping pits that you could go swimming in because water would be in it, and
Yeah.
you'd go home and your mom would catch you because you didn't have your underwear on anymore. That was your bathing suit.
Yep.
But it was a great childhood. I wouldn't give that up for anything.
I grew up, I was born in 75, so through the 70s, but I lived in Montana. So
Right.
you got to add another 10 years back. So it
Right.
was like, Montana's so slow to catch up to everything, which is what is great about it. I mean, it's terrible. Don't move there, anybody. But I feel like I got a childhood, maybe not quite as free as yours was, but I'd take off with my buddies on a bicycle in the morning, on a weekend or in the summer. Mm-hmm. And I'd just tell my mom, I'll see you for dinner. And that was it,
Well, in our hometown, there was a fire whistle that would go out at 9 o'clock. That meant all the kids in the house, Mm-hmm. But we'd be out all day long.
It's just not like that anymore. I
Well-
don't care where you live.
I guess the most technical thing we had was like a transistor radio.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, and it's a bummer that, iPhones are cool and all that, but man, I don't know. I try to get my kids out and do a lot of things I did as well.
Right.
But if you don't push them, they'll sit on their couch and they're staring at their phone,
Yep.
I hate that.
Well, how'd you like to be me? I don't even understand it.
you don't even know how to work an iPhone.
No.
Yeah. I told you this show was on YouTube, and you're all, what's YouTube? So there you go. So what were you doing to earn money to buy that bike? What was your first couple of jobs?
Well, I was basically construction.
Okay.
Road construction. And when I left the construction industry, I was actually going to be a blaster, dynamite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got some good dynamite stories.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You blow some stuff up?
We'd go down the center of a town blowing up to put the pipelines in.
Oh.
And at that time, my hair was a little longer. My beard was a little longer. So me going down the street with dynamite, people didn't know what I was doing. They didn't know if I was working or if I was on some kind of mission there. But
You were the Unabomber before the Unabomber.
Yeah. And then one day I was blasting and I was riding my motorcycle with Savitsky and he decided we were going to go to the Florida Series. Okay. So that was my fork in the road.
That was your departure.
Yep.
You were going to race, or you were going with him to wrench on his stuff?
Well, the way we got hooked up is he was 15, and he couldn't drive. So, and he was right. He just started to race because we hung out at the garage, and they start racing, and the guys that were racing were like a lot older than him, and he'd pack it all up just so they'd take him, and then the next thing you know, they go out, get a little loaded, and decide they're not going to race. So I saw this happening, so I went out and bought a 1950 Ford pickup truck.
Okay.
And I said, hey, I'll make sure we go to these races. I wasn't riding at the races. And we went to our first race, and it was hot, so we opened up the door, threw a blanket over the top. That was our canopy. We had the Suzuki kit. The tools that came with your Suzuki as our
was your toolbox.
tools. And next to us, this young kid comes in, motorhome, Montesas, 3 bikes, gets out. I go, whoa! I think we're like a little undermanned here,
Yeah.
And Savitsky went out, first time he ever raced, and got a 4th. Okay, and sucked on the top of the trophy all the way home, right? And that was the start of me and him.
Okay.
I was a privateer mechanic with him for.
And so were you good with tools and mechanics? I mean, were you tinkering on stuff at a young age, or how did you know, or were you just kind of learning as you went?
Well, I ended up, like I said, at Bob's Bultaco.
Okay.
And I was
/ funeral home.
Yeah, / funeral home. I wasn't doing anything in the funeral home, but I was doing stuff in the Bultaco shop.
Gotcha.
And he taught me some stuff, and at that time, there was not a lot of real stuff on a motorcycle, I should say.
Wasn't a lot of electronics
No,
or any
no,
of that.
it was
Yeah.
drum brakes. It was, it was like you could take a Bultaco apart and put it back together in like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was a little less challenging
Yeah.
to learn how to do it.
But you still had to be mechanically sound and savvy if a guy at a pretty high level is going out to ride on your bike, right?
Right. Well, we just cleaned up ports. We didn't do anything like had any kind of porting stuff,
Sure.
and we didn't. All our stuff was usually stock. But
So you guys start going and doing these races. He's doing pretty well, but you're not getting paid. You're just doing it as a buddy at that point, yeah?
I hate to say this, but I finally figured out how to beat the system. Then I was collecting unemployment and working on his bike.
Okay.
At that time, you only had to sign up every 6 weeks. In fact, I flew back from Florida to sign up and flew back.
Okay.
But the story about the first time we went to Florida was pretty wild.
Let's hear
because
it.
we were going down to the Winter Series.
Okay.
And
that was big, right?
yeah.
That would be
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Golden States out here.
Well,
The Winter Series
the
down there
Winter
was...
Series out there was basically a tune-up for a lot of the factories were going out there.
Yep.
In Florida. And so we were down there, and we were going to go, and one of the guys in the garage was renting motorhomes, right?
Okay.
Well, we used to also do some stuff like go to demolition derbies, with cars and stuff, and we had a Plymouth, an old Plymouth with the push button on the side,
Okay.
and we traded him. He could use our demolition car if we could use his motorhome for 6 weeks. How about that deal? Okay.
Okay.
So we go to Florida. Well, here's the best part about this is we're going over there, and this is right by the Bultaco funeral place. So we had Bob's, Will Plant, you, and all this written on this thing, Miller's funeral home, right? Well, he gets hit in the side and can't hit the buttons. The car's stuck wide open. So you can't turn it off. He goes right across the whole deal, over the log, hits a fence, wraps people around, like five or six people transported.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but nobody's serious. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The
But
car blow up, or what happened to it?
No, it stopped because it hit the front of a semi. But we obviously got the better deal on that.
Yeah, you did. All right. So was he making money? Was there any money to be made at that point for him?
Well,
Or was he getting any help from a manufacturer or no?
well, when our first race as a pro was Pocono.
Okay.
Pocono race where they have the NASCAR. They
Yep.
had it was inside, and we went there. Didn't know anything about anything. He goes up there with a 125 and a 250 and says, I want to ride both classes. And they looked at him and said, with the number 173E on it, okay. And they said, son, you can only race one. Okay. Now, he gets out there, and that's when Weinert they just had, all the teams had at least 4 riders.
Okay.
And they were all wearing the same colors. It used to look really cool at one time there, when they were all in the same colors. And we go there and don't know anything. Never rode a 45-minute moto. Nothing.
Straight into the deep end.
Straight in.
What did he ride, 125 or 250?
He rode a 250.
Okay.
And then,
Was John a bigger guy? I kind of try to picture him in my head. How tall
he was about 6 foot, but he was thin.
Okay.
And the amazing part is, our first 3 nationals, we went to that one. We went to Delta, Ohio, and we went to another one. I forget which one it was. But he ended up like 7th, 8th, in the top 10.
It's pretty dang good.
Now, can you imagine if someone came out, nobody knew about, and got 3 top 10 finishes on a stock Bultaco?
They'd have a ride the next year.
Oh,
I'll tell you that.
Heck,
Yeah.
we'd have been on Easy Street.
Yeah.
But at that time, they were just picking people who wanted saddleback
Okay.
in Southern California because it was underneath the Japanese's nose out here. Mm-hmm. And so then we were not getting any help.
Even after that, nothing. No one poking around, nothing.
Nope. And then the first person that ever helped us was Roger DeCoster.
Really?
Yeah, from the factory. Obviously, Hannah and Keith McCarty helped us because I would sleep on Keith's floor, and he would sleep in Hannah's room.
Okay.
Because Hannah wanted somebody to run and jump rope with and practice with that would be absolutely no threat on Sunday. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And they helped us out in that aspect. But Roger was the first one with bikes.
With Suzuki?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we got a Suzuki, and he helped us in the Trans Am. That's when he had Jeff Jennings and these other younger riders. And he sees us and basically tried to help us with parts. And he was the first one that actually helped us. John never really got a full factory ride through his whole career.
Yeah.
The best he ever had was one year we got Hannah's works bike. Like it was 77.
Okay.
We got the 76 one.
Like at the end of the year, they just gave it to you and said you can race
Yeah,
it.
you can have this one. There's
How
parts.
much better was that than what he was racing?
Well, let's just say that one was a lot better than what we were racing.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
was John ecstatic on that?
Oh yeah. He was making all the mains at that time when there was 18 factory riders.
Yeah.
And actually almost won one in Dallas. It was so muddy that one race we went to, it was they actually canceled the second day.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was in the car wash with Keith McCarty, and we were washing our bikes, and a bolt of lightning came through after the first night, and they decided we better cancel that one.
That's enough of that, huh?
Yeah.
And John, for those who are not familiar with the name John Savitsky, went on to build tracks.
Oh, yeah,
and that's how I remembered him.
Stadium Dirt Design he has. He still has that company.
Does he?
Yeah,
so
but
before Dirtworks became kind of the
Right.
the contracted deal,
Right.
they were kind of, if I remember right, they were using multiple track builders for different parts of the country.
Right.
And John would do a handful of them. And
Right. He would do most of the ones with Pace Management at the time.
Okay.
That would be Felt now.
And in my opinion, his tracks were the best. He would do stuff that was so unique. There was a race he built a track. It was kind of a one-off event over in Scottsdale, Arizona. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Early 90s.
Yep.
And the start gate was raised up on a pad about 10 feet and dropped right down. And the track looped around and you would jump over the gate. And that down pad was the landing.
All right.
Just weird stuff like that where, I don't know, he was way ahead of his time as far as I'm concerned, because a lot of the stuff we would get out here, the jumps were all, cobbly. They weren't built super great.
Right.
And John always did an awesome job. That's what I remember him from.
Well, he now has his own construction company. He's still moving dirt around.
Yeah. Oh, he's good at it. All right. So what was next for you then? After how did you go from that to Bob, or from that to your next thing?
Well, we did get a Bultaco ride
with John?
Yeah.
Okay.
With Bob's, not with Bob's, but with Bultaco from they were down in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
And Marty Tripes was on the team, and Ron Pomeroy and us.
Okay.
Well, our deal was.
Is Ron really? Is that Jim's brother?
Yeah, that's Jim's younger brother.
Okay.
And the amazing part about it is our deal with them was to do the Trans Am was you're going to get $75 a week in parts, a gas card, and here's the address of every Bultaco dealer in that city.
Wow. Now,
so when we would go to those cities, we'd go to their shops, and basically sometimes they'd say, hey, would you wear our jersey, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty well because, a couple of the guys actually invited us to their houses, and that's how we met Mark Johnson, the former Team Green Kawasaki mechanic.
Okay.
We stayed at his house when we were in Kansas City, and it was not a bad little deal because, I mean, we'd go to these houses and they'd say, "Oh, steaks are the biggest thing in Kansas City," and they'd put these big steaks on our plate, and I ended up gaining 30 pounds that year. But that was our deal, and
$75 a week in parts. Was that? I don't know what that would be comparable to today, but was that getting you guys through and what you needed?
Let's just say maybe a piston was $200 back then.
Oh,
no, it was not what we needed, and but the shops helped us.
Okay.
Hey, In fact, I don't know if you've ever had a picture of this. I might have one of the little. They used to have this real big mini bike race before Livermore at the Trans Am called Richmond Ramblers.
No, I never heard of that.
Yeah, everybody would show up. DG would go up there. Brock would come up with a DG bike. Somebody be there with a Miller Mano bike. Somebody be there with an FMF bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And where was this?
This was in Richmond, California. It was called the Richmond Ramblers. And, everybody was there. Preston Petty was there. I'm throwing out some old guys.
Yeah.
If your viewers don't know, Preston Petty had the first plastic fender.
Yeah.
And
had the little rubber flap right on the front. Yeah, I remember that.
And they were all there. And we had this, and a lot of people don't even know about this. I think there was only 100 of these made. It was called the Tyrone. It was a Bultaco mini bike. Okay?
I've never heard of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Tyrone had the same bottom end size as a 250. And the cylinder had a sleeve in. For people that don't know what a sleeve is, it's not something on your shirt. That's where the piston goes up and down, and you could actually bore that out to a 360. That's how thick the wall was.
Oh, wow.
But we didn't have any boring machines, so we took a 250 Matador engine and put it in there.
Okay.
Now, you're looking at a bike that's like, 3 feet long with a 250 engine in it.
Oh, my gosh.
You had to start off in third gear, or otherwise it would just flip right out.
How do you even ride it? That's crazy.
Marty Tripes rode it and beat all of them.
Is that right?
Bultaco's major win of the year.
On the Tyrone.
On the Tyrone. Preston Petty got on it and couldn't even. He come up to Marty Tripes and went, "How did you do it?"
Yeah.
I think I can get you a picture if you ever want to show that.
Please, I would love to show that. We'll put it up in the show for people to watch. That's great.
I mean, racing was serious, but it was also a lot of fun back then.
It seems like it. The stories, when you're up on when the gate drops, it was serious.
Right.
And guys were out for blood. But then it was like, and this happens, I feel like, in any sport or any facet of life. When money gets infused and the money that you can earn gets greater,
I believe
the fun goes away. It gets more serious, and you lose some of that culture and that soul.
Well, I always say when they move the comma.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. When the decimal point slides to the right, the fun goes down exponentially.
Oh, yeah. But I'll tell you, I've been blessed to go through the world and the motorcycle industry in the best time.
Well, so I have a question about this. I might as well just ask you now, because this is something that I think is very rare, even in our sport, but it doesn't exist in other sports, because you've been here really since the beginning of motocross, right? I mean, maybe there was some scrambles or some crap going on, but motocross, really, you've been there since the start of it.
Yeah.
And you're still here, right?
Right.
That doesn't happen in baseball, football, basketball. It started too long ago, right? There isn't anybody alive who was there at the beginning.
Right.
And so you say you lived through the best era. You've lived through the entire era, every era. So
I lived through hand on the helmet starts, where you sit there and try to hit your clutch and go. I lived through those rubber band stripes starts, where the rubber band they let snap by. I lived through the forward gates where everybody just hit and it would go down, and it was just one big gate.
Yeah.
And now the back forward gate. So I've seen a lot of gates.
Concrete, then dirt, then concrete, now metal grates. I mean, you've seen it all. That's why I'm saying.
One time, Ping, when I was a mechanic with Yamaha, with Cantaloupe, my construction talent came in, because you'd go to the starting line, you'd have a pick, a shovel to clean out his rut. You'd tap, for me, I was really a commodity, because you could go out on the other side and tap the ground down. Now I got like 50 pounds on all those little guys. So
you're packing it down
when
hard.
I'm packing it down, it's packed down, and you'd carry a fire extinguisher.
Really?
Oh yeah, every hotel they went to, the fire extinguishers were gone. Those metal ones, the white ones.
Yeah.
We'd fill them up with water, and when the rider would come around, the mechanics area on a hot day, give him a shot of water. on their jersey. I'm glad I wasn't a goggle guy then.
Yeah, right.
I mean, every race was a mud race. You'd go through the mechanics there and you'd be puddles.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. This one guy, Gordy, he worked for Yamaha, and he was with Jimmy Weinert, okay?
Okay.
He brought a bucket and almost knocked Weinert off the bike, just threw it on him.
Well, I had to do that it would have been 09, managing Troy's team at Fremont.
Right.
Were you at that race that year in Texas?
Probably.
It was
Oh, yeah.
100 plus and
Right.
100% humidity. It was the hottest day I think I've ever experienced.
Right.
And I stood in this corner. There was a little pond next to it, and I had a bucket, and I was filling it up. And I would, if they nodded at me, I would hit. It was a tight turn,
Right.
and I'd pour it down their back as they went by.
Right. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Cars Maker came over here and changed the whole attitude of training. He was the first European here, and even in the Roger days, 45 minutes, most of the Americans were throwing up in their helmets at the third,
Yeah.
and he would just continue on.
Cars Maker was kind of the first workhorse.
Well, yeah,
huh?
he was the full-time guy over here for Yamaha. Yeah, he's the one that basically changed the attitude of being in shape.
That's interesting. Before Ricky did it, huh? He was kind of the next guy to raise the bar, seems like.
Well, Ricky and
Johnny owned Ricky and Wardy. Those guys, they
and
worked their
Hannah,
butts off
and
too.
those
yeah.
guys were,
that's true.
they were starting. They didn't have personal trainers. They did it on their own.
Yeah.
And all they were doing, like with Savitsky, when we'd be driving down the road,
Yeah.
I'd drop him off on the freeway and go like 5 miles up and pull over.
That was training. That was
Yeah.
just run.
Unfortunately, he didn't know. When I saw him on my rear mirror, I moved up another half mile. But that was training because they were on the road.
Yeah.
It wasn't like anybody was flying home.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that's what the fun was. Like 6 of us in the Yamaha trucks, all stay at the same hotel, and it was fun.
And I got a taste of that my first year as a privateer. And that you and I were talking earlier about my box van when I was a privateer kid. We connected with Airwalk,
Right.
which at the time was a super cool new skate shoe.
As a matter of fact, I think I got a pair of those.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't pay us any money. They just gave us free shoes. But we had a huge logo on the van, and that's how people – it was actually brilliant. And I got to give credit to my buddy Randy Lawrence. He's the one who goes, let's just do it up big, even though they're not paying us.
Right.
It'll be your branding, and people will recognize you because of that.
Right.
And, man, he was right. Everyone goes, oh, the Airwalk guy's here, Anyway, different times. But I remember traveling around in a group. You'd follow 5 or 6 guys in box vans, and you'd park at the same places. You'd eat together.
Yep.
You'd ride together.
Right.
Shenanigans,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was so fun.
Yeah, Hannah one time had a remote airplane,
Yeah.
and he was flying and lost control, and it kind of like went into a Holiday Inn sign.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's got to be some good Bob stories, so let's get to those. But I want to ask you this first. Well, first, how did you get to Bob? Was that your next guy after Savitsky, or what did you do in between working for John and working for Bob?
Well, I just worked on with Bob at the schools.
Okay.
My next step was, I was basically a private material mechanic with him for 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
And I didn't want to leave him until he had something.
Yep.
And at that time, there was a race team called PDQ. And it was he got a ride with him. Arnie Beeman, who used to be Jim Conroy's mechanic, was the team manager, so he hired Savitsky, and he actually got a little money and stuff like that. And it was going to be like a satellite team of today, but not as exotic,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, and Yamaha offered me a job, and I said, well, I think maybe I'll go this way and you go that way.
You guys
because he had
parted on
something.
good terms, though, right?
Yeah. Because you know how he got into doing stadium dirt design?
No.
Well, we were at the races, and we'd get there a week ahead of time because we were on the road constantly. I go, why don't you go down and work on a track? They'll pay you, make a little money, and we're here, and
Did he?
That's how it happened.
Was he moving dirt or working heavy equipment? How did he know how to do that?
Well, his family owned the coal breaker.
Oh, okay.
Okay, which means he had some equipment on talent, but mostly when he first started, it was like I said, hey, go down there and lift the 900 hay bales. That's enough training, You know, I'm working on the bike. You're doing that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how he got started.
Yeah.
Rich Winkler was in charge of all of that at the time, who owns Stadium Dirt Design. He was he wasn't working on the track. He actually was, I guess today you would say he was in charge of the event. You know, and he got together with John, and they used to just go buy hay bales and then sell them back to the guy at the,
is that right?
The farmer. And they used to use plywood and sell the plywood back to people because all it was dirty.
Yeah.
You know, but that's how it was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I remember hearing even David Bailey told us stories of, when he put on the Axton National.
Right.
He was, having to check between motos. Hey, you guys got enough hot dog buns, and how's the,
right.
Working all that stuff. But you whether you were picking up tear-offs
right.
for a little bit extra money or whatever, or your family was doing the scoring, or
right.
You paid for it and got through it however you could back then. There wasn't a ton of money.
Well, we used to actually grade hotels because we'd take showers in the pool rooms where the pool was,
Yeah.
And you'd say, okay, hey, we're good. At one time, the funniest thing that ever was I was on the AMA advisory board, and we were at a meeting, right? And I'm sitting up there, and we're in Newark, New Jersey, at the Meadowlands at that time for Supercross. And I look.
What year would this have been?
Why do you ask me that?
Well, ballpark. I'm just curious.
Okay.
Is this like 80s?
Yeah,
Okay,
80s.
okay.
And I look out the window, and there's this place called like the Rest Inn. Okay, well that's where the factories would have been.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're in this Hilton, and there's not one racer there. All of the privateers are in the Hilton with the factory guys, and I go, wow, this is really unusual, I mean, we used to stay in the same hotels as the factory guys, but we were in our truck.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Ping, you know how you were hot on that race? How'd you like to be in a box van? Sleep. We had the first actual box van also.
Is that right?
Yeah, and we put bunk beds behind the seat. Okay? How'd you like to be in them bunk beds, hot, and listening to them air conditioners?
All night long.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because our truck didn't even have air conditioning.
2 windows down, right? That was your AC?
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what did you do then? So, after you worked for John, you went to Yamaha.
Right.
What was your first job at Yamaha? Like, what was your...
Donnie Cantalupe.
Oh, Cantalupe.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you guys know each other prior to that, or you just got put together?
No. Yep.
You guys get along well?
Yeah, yeah. Donnie's kind of a unique kind of guy, to say the least.
Well, let's hear about Donnie. I haven't had him on here yet.
Well, Donnie, I don't know what. He liked to box.
Oh, yeah?
And not professionally. I mean, oh, yeah.
He was a fighter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, one time.
You know what? Rodney Smith on his show was saying that Donnie was he was pretty scrappy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It was funny because Hannah used to have a speed bag, okay, and gloves, right? So he speed back, and then Donnie says, "Hey, why don't we put those gloves on?" About knocked him out in the first punch. I mean,
was that right?
Oh yeah. For some
Donnie
reason,
was pretty tough too. Like
Donnie,
he liked to fight for a reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if you stepped on his foot, he didn't ask you to apologize, But he's a good kid, I mean, I enjoyed working with him.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy sometimes how he landed off of jumps, but.
Oh yeah, you were telling me he would drag his rear brake or use his rear brake when he landed, and it would slap the front wheel down. What was that about?
I don't know. I wasn't.
You didn't.
I don't want to ask him.
You don't want to get knocked out. You just kept replacing wheels.
I mean, he would break. At one time, he told me that his grandpa used to work on the bike, and they had. This is another thing that I might have to explain. 8 across. That means you got a spoke that was like 3 feet long, and it went across 8 across and 8 across. I mean, you might as well put it just a hub,
Yeah.
And I said to him, I go, well, if you do that, how many forks did you bend? Because once you strengthen that up,
something's
going to give. And when you straighten your forks up, how's your steering stem, right? You know, so it was a little hard to work with sometimes, especially when, you know, I was very fortunate to have the first water cools, the Yamahas, and that was the first water cooled bike.
Okay. Was that one with the radiator up top, though?
Yes,
okay, that was
if
the stories I've heard, I didn't ride one. That was not a great motorcycle.
Well, first of all, from my point of view, is you had to put the steering stem, because the water went through the steering stem, okay? And you'd had to put that in there with 18 O-rings in there. And there was no like, hey, are they in there right? You know, it's just slide it in.
And hope for the best.
Hope for the best. And to get to your point about the radiator, at Daytona, Hannah came in after he lost a race and took a ball-peen hammer and put it right through that radiator and says, that doesn't belong up top. You need to lower it. It's too heavy. And that's when it was full works bikes, and the Japanese lays on to, like, Japan is like, his eyes are like, it's bulging out, that he goes, boom. Another story about Carl Quist, right? He was testing, and they asked him, he came in, put the bike against the truck, and as the story goes, he grabs a shovel and he starts digging a hole. And they say to him, why are you digging a hole? Because that's where that bike belongs, in that hole, buried.
No way.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I've just not heard good things about that motorcycle. Too much weight up high, made it real top heavy and wobbly. And
okay, that bike was the one when he was racing against Howerton. Howerton's bikes is Suzuki, because Suzuki, when it was blown works bikes, they knew they had the best.
Was that right?
Oh yeah, they had their 250 that year. The weight limit was 198. Their bike was 198. Mm-hmm. Hannah's was the Yamaha was 231. Ugh. So now we get on this program, weight down. You know, they're giving you magnesium carburetors. That's when you saw a lot of carbon fiber. Now you saw a lot of the titanium bolts come out.
Okay.
I mean, it was ridiculous. They'd give you this silencer hand built. It was like $2,000. And say, that's going to take like 3 ounces off the bike.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, when that was a big deal with the weight.
40 pounds. I mean, how do you even, or 30 pounds, how do you, where's that coming from?
Well, it's just everything was, I don't know, but where it came from, but it was tough getting 10 pounds off of it. Yeah, pretty expensive.
I'll bet you.
In fact, when Howerton used to go to the one Carlsbad race they used to have to put, go weigh it in. Mm-hmm. And I think Europe was a little bit heavier than ours, the weight. They used to hide chains in the airbox.
Yeah, I've heard stories of that.
Yeah. And just hide weight on it and take it off for the race.
That's funny. There's still...
And I don't think that's illegal. That's just...
There's still things that go on. I think this is funny, like in... I'm not going to blow any teams out here, but I've seen and know that this has happened firsthand. Guys will have a map that detunes the bike, so when they go through tech and have to do sound, it'll only rev so high, so they pass sound, right? And they'll put the mufflers in a freezer.
Right.
Apparently something about being cold takes sound down. They would put...
Lean against the pipe.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's another little trick?
Yep.
Well, they put O-rings, like inside the header. There's all kinds of little tricks these guys are doing to get through tech and get through sound. And so,
but the funny part is when they used to weigh the bikes after, and there's mud on them. I mean, come on, that takes care of it.
That's funny. You just say, "Oh, it's the dirt." Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's funny. Okay, so Cantaloupe, how long were you with him?
I was with him 2 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you guys ever win any races with him together?
Toronto Supercross.
Okay.
And we were like a second behind the win in Daytona. Daryl Schultz won it.
On the 500?
Yeah. No, 250.
Oh, it was 250?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Toronto we won. And I have to say I was a big part of that one because fortunately we were running at that time we had two bikes on our truck, the 125 and the 250. National Supercross.
Yeah.
Because we'd be in the middle of Supercross, and then Gainesville would pop up. So right after Daytona or before Daytona. So we used to carry parts for both. Well, we went up there, and I mean, it poured. It poured rain. So I was fortunate enough to have a 11-tooth countershaft sprocket. No one else had it because they didn't have 125 parts in there. And then I put a 54 on the back. So I made a tractor. Okay? But he was the only one left riding around because I was allowed to go around and help pull him out.
Oh, okay.
And I definitely was a little bit stronger than some of them weenie other mechanics, you know. So I could pull his bike
Toronto
out.
was an open-air stadium?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez, that seems crazy in Canada.
Yeah.
But
No, wait. Excuse me. That was Montreal.
oh, okay. Well, either way,
Montreal.
still.
And you know what the next day was? In the afternoon.
Buggies?
No, the Toronto Supercross.
Oh.
And you know the distance in between Toronto and Montreal? 400 miles.
So you guys drove all night?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
After a mud race.
After a mud race. Yep.
That was a long weekend.
Yeah. That's like I was saying about another time. That's when you put the alarm clock next to you. So when you fell asleep, when I'd go to a red light, I'd put it in park and hopefully wake up. You know,
Wow.
I didn't want to drift out there.
Yeah. Jeez. Sketchy. What was that first win like? Was that the first major pro win you'd ever been involved with, yeah?
Yes. It was pretty exciting, you know.
You didn't really get time to celebrate, though, I suppose. You
No.
had to throw crap in the van and go.
Yeah, it wasn't like, okay, where are we going to eat? What are we going to do? Hey, you know, it was like, hey, see you, Donnie.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously he wasn't riding with me, so see you.
Yeah.
But the one I really enjoyed was Lachine.
Okay.
When he left Yamaha and went to Honda, they had the last race in San Diego.
Okay. And he had a stock bike, right?
He bought a stock bike, and I worked on a little bit. In fact, brought the bike to Mitch, and Mitch at Pro Circuit worked on it, you know, and I put it together, and Dick Lachine and I put it in my van and brought it to the race, and worked on it, and we won San Diego.
He was like only 16 too, right? He was very young. I think that's
he was a little bit older because that was his last ride on a Yamaha.
Oh, okay.
And he went to Honda. And it was so funny because we bought the bike, so he was definitely going to sell it. And I pitied the guy that bought it because, we read Loctite all the nuts and bolts on it. Because we knew we were only going to use it one night. Yeah. And you know what Loctite is.
Yeah, it's good luck. He probably broke all the bolts off trying to get them out.
Right, but that was pretty exciting.
That's a big win. Hometown and against all the factory guys.
Yeah. And we were in our van, and me and Dick were there, and I tightened stuff up, and I go, Dick, I already tightened that. Sit down, relax. But we ended up winning that one, and you know, Ronnie Lachine was always a real favorite of mine because, you know, unfortunately, you know, he got a lot of money, and I think he was about 18 then. And I always tell people, if I made as much money as Ronnie did at 18, I probably would have screwed up.
Made some bad choices, too.
Yeah.
I know. Every time there's somebody in our sport that, or even outside the sport, you know, look at Justin Bieber, for example. 14, 15-year-old kid with hundreds of millions of dollars probably.
Yeah.
How are you not going to make some bad decisions? You know.
Yeah, especially all the Klingons.
Yeah.
You know, hey,
everybody telling you, that's a great
let's
idea.
go to the river, you know. Well, you could practice tomorrow. Let's go to the river, you know, that kind of stuff. And the other major one I had was with David Bailey.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
At Yamaha?
No, on Honda.
All right, well, let's hear this.
I don't know what was going on, but there was a Wrangler Cup, 3 races. They just did something in that in Racer X. But the factories couldn't go because...
Was it at Talladega, one of them?
Yeah, that's the one I worked on.
Rodney
his bike.
Smith was just telling us about this, and he said Rick didn't go.
David was there.
David went, but he had to take his own bike. Honda couldn't be involved.
And I worked on his bike.
Okay. It's tying together.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah. You know, and that was At one point, I was basically called Rent-A-Wrench.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Because if they couldn't be involved, Team Honda.
Yeah, what was the deal? Because AMA didn't sponsor it or did?
I think
it was sanctioned by somebody different.
It was the Wrangler Cup, I believe, 3-race series.
Okay.
That's why it was a blue plate.
Gotcha. Huh.
You know, blue and yellow plate.
Yeah.
And we went there, you know, and I worked on his bike. Cliff was with me, his mechanic, but he was just there, and I had to do all the work. You know?
He was there just unofficial.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I got you. Okay.
Right.
That's strange.
Oh, yeah.
So how was that? How was it working for David?
Oh, David's another.
Man, what a cool opportunity, you know? Like you could say you've worked with Hannah, Lachine, Bailey, Candler. That's crazy.
Well, and, I'm still, you know my bucket list, the last thing in this industry is?
What's that?
A cover.
We'll be on
on the magazine, but, you know, but I don't think I'm going to make that. But anyway, you know, David was, I'll tell you the saddest thing about David for me is I used to go to Europe too, obviously to do their goggles, and we're coming back, and he finally beat Ricky Johnson head up. Remember, they were always
Sure.
right. So we went over there, or maybe I'm wrong, but he basically beat him everywhere in Europe that year.
Okay.
And we're coming back, and for some ungodly reason, we get upgraded on Swiss Wear on a 747 to the top.
I never got to fly upstairs.
Upstairs. I mean, and it's me, Johnny O'Mara, and his girlfriend, David, and his girlfriend, Gina, his wife. And I don't know if Ricky was up there, but that's who was there.
Okay.
So we're sitting there, and David was getting married in December, right? And I'm looking at him, and I'm going, man, look at it. Gina, nice lady, has all this just going. His career's going so well. I'm so happy for him. In fact, hey, Bevo, do you mind taking $10,000 across through customs? You know, because you only bring so much money. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there we go to Lake Madeira, and gone. Gone.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Oh, you were there that day?
Yeah.
Huron, right? Wasn't it Lake Huron?
I thought it was Lake Madeira.
Oh.
Either one of them.
Anyway.
Whatever. In fact, after the race, Mitch Payton and myself went to the hospital to see him. And there he is laying in one of those rotating beds, you know.
Yeah, he made a video. I don't know if you remember that. Like it was someone shot just some cam footage of him in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And like that's still stuck in my brain.
Oh.
Watching that as a kid, you know.
Well, when you see that he's on this bed looking down in a mirror, and every half hour they flip him so there's no blood clots, you know, that was weird. And like I said, Mitch and myself, we went to see him like in the hospital that day. You know.
That's hard.
Oh yeah. Same with Doug Henry. I went to see him when he got hurt. His career was over, and he went to do one of those street and motocross.
Supermoto, yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me, every so often I do.
Oh, it's
all right. 73 that happens to you, whether you like it or not. But the other saddest thing was going to see Doug Henry.
Yeah.
You know.
Although if I know Doug, he was probably smiling and joking and laughing, huh?
Well, Doug is incredible.
Incredible. Different kind of human.
Yep. I mean, he'll call me up, right, and go, Bevo, hey, I'm doing this bicycle race, okay? You think you might be able to get me some expense money? Otherwise, I'll be sleeping in the van, okay? I go, Doug, there's one thing about the owner of 100% Ludo. He really respects the injured rider. Mm-hmm. And I just call him up. I say, hey, Doug needs a couple grand to do this thing. Okay. You know, just like that. I mean, not even what's he going to do, how's he doing it. And even when I did a deal for Rider Down, and it was a deal that people put money in and I lost weight. And Ludo, $100 a pound.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah, and I lost like 40 pounds. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
But those are probably the saddest moments of my career, because I used to really try to go to the hospital the same day.
Yeah.
Like when Jeremy Martin got hurt, I went to see him there. But I'm a baby when it comes to that.
Well, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
I went to Jimmy's when Jimmy Button got hurt. I went in that day, and it was like, Jimmy and I were pretty good friends, and it was, it was heavy.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you, like, even when I broke my femur, which is not nearly on the level of what those guys went through, but just, I remember the people that came in and saw me still.
Mm-hmm. That's, I never looked at one of my riders as just plastic and a strap around them.
Yeah.
All the guys I've ever worked with, I've just treated them like I like to be treated.
Yeah.
That's my theory in life.
Yeah.
Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's awesome that you do that as hard as it is, because I promise you each one of those guys remembers you coming.
Well.
And it means a lot to them.
I know that.
I promise you.
I always say, that they're a forgotten soldier when they're hurt.
Totally.
Nobody calls them.
No.
Nobody checks up on them.
Yeah.
I do that because I'm concerned, know. I just got off the phone with Jeremy Martin the other day,
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I never knew how big that scar is on the back of Michael Craig.
Oh.
I never saw that before.
Christian or Michael?
Christian.
Yeah.
I did goggles for his dad, Stingray, so. But I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I knew he got hurt and had to retire, but I never knew his back was hurt that bad.
Yeah.
You got to give that kid a lot of credit.
I was there that day. It was another awful, awful day.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's the saddest part about motocross or any kind of racing is when one of your colleagues or your fellow racer gets hurt.
Yeah, and it's one of those big injuries, right? We all have had broken bones, and it's like, I'll get well soon. We'll see you back out here. But those big ones are tough.
Oh yeah.
Did it ever deter you to the point where you were like, I don't know if I could do this anymore?
No, because there's the dark side of everything in life, and there's the bright side.
Yeah.
If you let the dark side command your life, it's going to take you down. You got to always be ready to see the bright side.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so how often did you go work with Bob then at Yamaha?
I did his schools.
Okay.
And Bob used to say, he said, we go up to Oahe Park up in Idaho.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And
OMC, still there.
Oh, yeah. And we do a school. He says, hey, come on up. Hey, all you got to do is tighten my nuts and bolts up. And, hey, we're going to just have fun, We'll do, Okay, Bob. We go there. He says, you don't even have to change the air cleaner. Okay? Right? Well, before that happens, Bob's showing a turn, and some guy comes around the other way, head on.
Oh, jeez.
Now I'm changing the frame. Right?
Come on, that'll be easy.
Yeah. I said, what's going on here? Now, he says, don't worry about the air cleaner. Now, halfway through the race, his air cleaner's clogged, right? Yeah. And I'm going, thanks, man. You made me look like not only a fool, but you have me up here working my butt off. It's going to be fun. But
was this like if you bought a Yamaha, you got a free Bob Hanna school or something? Was it like that? Or was these were his own things he put on?
No, that was on his own things.
Okay. Because I remember he worked.
Tony D had that. If you bought a Suzuki after he got hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. But Bob would come to those. I went to 2 with Bob.
Yeah.
Bob would be the guest.
Yeah.
Special guest, rider. I didn't know if it was that, if same thing with Yamaha or his own deal.
That's even sadder. Tony D gets hurt after racing, like Doug. But Doug was in competition. He was just in his backyard. He had like a couple acres and was just on a little trail and fell.
Didn't he hit a tree stump or something? Is that right?
Don't matter what he hit. What all he's been through, and it happens in his backyard. But
I know you all of the chances you took for so many years.
And then he's working on a carburetor, and John's within his eye. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Does he not see out of one eye?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This was after.
Jeez.
Tony D was from Pennsylvania. Obviously, after he got hurt, he used to come to our house and stuff, and he actually got my kids let him have a Weisinger he had, or some kind of little. Oh no, it was a Suzuki 90 4-wheeler, and that's how. I only have one son that's really does anything, and my son Angelo, he races off-road, just for fun.
Yeah.
My other son, I was telling you, he does pyro or lasers for, like this weekend you were talking about Justin Bieber. Well, he's doing a show with him and Marshmallow.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's an interesting line of work he's in.
Yep. And my little daughter, she's in grad school.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I have 4 kids, and my other son is John Kuzo, obviously that does the service for 100%.
Yep.
And my lovely wife Helen. You've probably got something out of that motorhome that she fed you.
100%. 100% I have, yeah. What's your daughter going to school to be? What's her
She's
major?
a history major.
Okay.
I hope there's still history when she graduates.
Does she want to teach, or what she want to do?
Well, she's gone to this school called Shippensburg University, and she's worked there. So they're going to she's also in, she can be a counselor.
Oh, okay.
And they told her that when she graduates, so she's worked there, and she got a scholarship for a master. Thank God on that. I've paid 12 years of tuition and don't have a degree. So,
Jeez.
And so she's gonna. They said they may have a position right there at the school for her.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
It's got to be a good feeling when all of your kids are grown and they're all successful and they're all independent, right? Do you feel kind of like, I did it?
No,
I mean, my kids are both teenagers. They're in the thick of the worst part of it, right? And I'm hanging on for dear life.
Hey, Ping, as long as you got a kid, it's always there.
Really?
Yeah.
You always worry about them. You're always just...
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I always tell everybody, raising kids is like playing basketball. When you only have one, it's 2-on-1 defense, okay? Mm-hmm. When you have 2, it's man-to-man, or woman-to-woman, or person-to-person, whatever you want to call it. And if you have 3, you go in the zone. And every so often, I got 4. So one always slips by and slams dunks it.
Well, I stopped at 2, so I'm still a man-to-man. But it's still not easy. Paint me a picture of what it was like. I mean, you did a little bit with your pit setup back there with John, but just kind of the difference between racing in the 70s, say, versus, we go to Supercross now and it looks like, I don't know. It's like a NASCAR race, I guess, or.
Well, we all had our own truck, and we all had a canopy that came off the back. And if you ever watched any of that old footage of Huffman did it.
Motocross Files?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you saw Jimmy Weiner laying on the ground and a guy throwing some water on him, and he's muddy. We all had that kind of stuff. But we all had our own parts in our truck, and we all had a canopy that came off the back, and we all had a couple what we would call bumper guards. That would be the girlfriend sitting on our bumper, one of his friends, a friend sitting on on the bumper. That every time you come out and say, because you're hopping in and out of a box van, right? Hey, could you move over just a little bit, And it was kind of, it was your own deal, though. Mm-hmm. You had to wash your truck, you had to do this, and like I went through the Star Pits this last weekend. I was at the race, and there's Brad, one of the top engineers there, and the probably future owner of the team. He's has his bike off, and he has this thing plugged in, and he's looking at his computer. And I go, what are you looking at? The bike's not even running.
Didn't you say he twisted the throttle?
He grabbed the throttle, and he's twisting it. And I go, what are you doing? Now, obviously, he didn't answer me. And I said to him, I go, Brad, when I was a factory mechanic at Yamaha, we had a 10, a 12. These are wrenches for people that don't know that. A 10, a 12, a 17, a 19, and a hammer. And we could work on the bike. I go, and you guys got this computer, you got this. I go, that's how sophisticated it's gotten, And they're all in a semi. They fly home or fly back to the shop, which that Stars facility I hear is unbelievable they have in Florida.
Yeah, we're going to go down and check it out here in a couple months. And
because when you have Tomac saying how good it is, and you have, these guys, I mean, that's quite a compliment.
Yeah.
And it's Ricky Carmichael's, so maybe there's something in that ground.
Something in the dirt, right? Yeah, you might be right.
But that's how it's changed. I mean, it's just so technical now, And, we didn't, back then, we didn't know that, this inside line's like 1/10 of a second faster than the outside line, and it's definitely elevated to NASCAR status.
So what's better is obvious, right? You have access to everything. Riders are flying, and pay is better. What was better back then? What do you miss? What do you wish we still had?
FUN. Fun. I mean, like I said, you traveled together, you had fun, and you'd be in a parking lot. And your bike would be all over the parking lot,
That was normal to see. I remember, early 90s, you'd show up to the Holiday Inn or wherever they were doing tech. Because at the Nationals, they do tech at the hotel. And there'd be, every box stand was open, bikes in all different sorts of being put together. And those were fun times.
And that was really, nice back then because the spectators that really wanted to see stuff, there was big crowds at that sign up where you'd have to walk your bike through sign up. It was almost like an event.
Yeah,
because people wanted to look at those works bikes.
Well, and they'd show up and get autographs from the riders, and look at the bikes and talk to the mechanics, and the mechanics would usually oblige. Have conversations with them and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when Yamaha came out with the power valve, we had to work on the bike with that power valve, looking at facing the truck, so no photographers could take pictures of it. In fact, I don't know if this is off the record, but if they would take a picture, you'd try to have to take their camera.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Works bikes back then, I mean, everything was secret.
Yeah.
They'd take pictures and then mic it all up take the picture and then measure everything and bring it to scale, and see what the other teams were doing. It was wild.
That's pretty interesting. I remember, there's photos before my time, but even in my era, you saw a little bit of this spill over. There's a picture that it just cracks me up. It's so much a snapshot of that era. It's at Unadilla, and it's Stanton, RJ, and Hannah on the podium.
Right.
And it's a little wooden box podium,
Did Hannah have a girl on her shoulders?
Well, there's that one. But there's another one with this girl and Jeff or someone's pulling her top up. Their boobs are out, and they're all laughing. And I mean, I'm just thinking, wow, you'd be in an HR meeting the next morning for sure if somebody did that now. It's just a different time. And the girl doesn't look. She's having a great time up there. It's not like she was being.
Oh no, I mean it was like, who wants to be Miss Unadilla? I do. And hey, I mean, it was, I guess it was risque, but it was funny. And I mean, I don't know if you ever knew that at the end of the race, Hannah would have like 3,000 people behind his van because JoJo Keller was up there and, actually shotgunning some beers and then, and his girls are over there. And did you know that time when like 12 girls attacked Hannah and signed his rear end?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Where was this?
Unadilla.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, Hannah would come up to every time he'd see one of they were girls, he'd go, hey, you got dirt on your pants, and tap them on the butt. And I'll tell you the funniest thing he ever did. The crowd at Unadilla at one time was really wild.
Oh, yeah.
Real wild.
Yeah.
They'd actually bring cars and stuff.
Yeah.
To destroy and everything. In fact, I used to stay on the hill with those people. Instead of a hotel, I'd sleep in the front of the van. And Hannah gets the bright idea. He gets dressed up like a girl and sitting on the top of the hood, with a couple pineapples or whatever, a couple grapefruits in there, and he's sitting on waving to the people. All of a sudden, these guys attack him. He's going, hey, I'm Bob Hannah. Hey, I'm not a girl.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it was nuts. I mean, and when I was parked up there, I'm looking over, and they actually went to cemetery vaults for the outhouses because people would just burn the other ones. There's a guy on the top with a sledgehammer breaking it.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it was a rowdy crowd.
Oh, yeah.
That and High Point. I remember High Point. They burned sofa. It was always something being lit on fire,
Right.
It was pretty rowdy.
But they got that all under control now. I mean, it's really Unadilla has it under control. High Point has it under control. Because there were people come to those races that never got off the ground to watch the race. They were passed out all day.
Yes, there were.
I'll tell you.
They never saw one lap.
I'll tell you who was wild was Jerry Belluto.
Bernardo.
Bernardo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'll bet. I can't
he
even
was
imagine.
nuts. And he had these guys that would come, and at Unadilla at one time, they were coming to that race on Tuesdays.
Before the race?
Yeah.
Just staying all week.
Oh, yeah.
So how did these girls tackle Bob and sign his rear end? How did this go down?
Oh, it was after the podium, and they grabbed him, and they put him down, and they all signed his hiney.
That's hilarious.
And the worst part about it was he went to visit his dad, and his dad saw those autograph names on his butt. Oh boy, I guess I'm giving you the unbelievable side of motocross.
Well, that was the era. That was
Yeah.
Some people probably gonna think, oh, that's disgusting. Whatever. But I think there's a lot of us that think. That was fun, I don't know. There's a fine line, obviously, but
let's put it this way: nothing was forced on anybody.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Nothing was ever forced on anybody, and it was all at the end of the day. Everyone was laughing about it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, to some people it may seem disgusting, but I don't know. I mean, that was just what was going on.
That was what was culturally.
If you go in the pits, that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You
well.
know?
You could, I'm sure you could stay clear of it if that wasn't your thing. But you walk by Bob, he's going to pat the dust off your rear end. That's quite a slick move. I got to tip my cap to old Bob there.
But he actually knew the people. Wasn't going up to strangers. So.
Right. You two seem like you and Bob had a really good connection.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just right off, you guys just hit it off.
Well, the thing about Bob is everybody thought he was an idiot at the race, because if you asked him for an autograph before, that's why he stayed after. He was working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like one time he was going to sign up, and this guy goes, "Hey, can you sign my kid's thing?" He goes, "I'm going over here to take my helmet," And the guy goes, "I told you he was a jerk." And I turned around and says, "Hey, you come to the back of my truck after, I'll sign anything you have." But before the race, he was thinking about racing.
Yeah.
He wasn't thinking about autographs or anything else. And I mean, for me, when in 1980, the recession hit. So Yamaha's factory team went from 7 to 4. So unfortunately, I was one of the 3 because I kind of was little shenanigans here and there,
All right.
And because
too much patting the dust off a girl's bottoms.
No. I'll tell you that one. But Bob said to me, in fact, I could have been the first man friend.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He said, "Look, I'll take the back seat out of the airplane. We'll fly to every race, and I'll give you $10,000. Okay?" I looked at him and I said, "Hey, Bob, I came here looking for a job. I'll find one." And that's when Scott called me up and asked me if I wanted to be their goggle guy.
Yeah.
But one of the shenanigans, I'll tell you, when I turned 40, they had this big party, the Gilmans. You remember the Gilmans?
Gilman.
Scott Gilman rode for Team Suzuki.
Sounds familiar to me,
and
but I
he was
don't
the
know.
king of saddleback.
Okay.
Well, they had this 40th birthday for me. Weiner was there. Goodwin was there. All these people were there.
Here in SoCal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They lived right on Chapman, right by Saddleback.
Yep.
The real Saddleback, not that new one they had.
Yeah.
But so they had this party. Well, they gave me an inflatable doll. Okay. Sally was her name. Okay. So for fun, I would put it in the driver's seat when I go cross country just to see the guy when he's washing my window. See this, just to laugh, In case you don't realize, I'm kind of a jokester kind of guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go to Sears Point, and at that time there was 2 ambulances. When an ambulance left, the race stopped, and it'd be like an hour delay.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
So, just for the heck of it, I took Sally out and put her on my works bike.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
That's that might have got you clipped from Yamaha.
Well, not really, but when Ken Clark told me that I was going to be laid off because of the recession, he goes, "Do you know how much it cost me to keep this out of the magazines?"
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but I don't think it cost him anything, but
Probably just some headache phone calls. Yeah.
yeah, but that was one of my shenanigans.
Bob was big for his pranks too. I've heard stories, and I don't know if you were around during this era where he went to the start line of a race and put a sub sandwich on the front of Marty's bike.
Oh yeah.
Was that? I mean, what were some of the other ones that stand out for you?
Well, Hannah,
he was a jokester, man. He always had something.
Well, the best one is when he'd be in front at the hole shot and flying his clutch. He used to do that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he'd be going down and you'd see him hitting his clutch and yeah.
What was that about?
Just like I'm in front and I'm gonna,
Yeah.
How about this? I finally got a hole shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Whistler bombs was his big thing.
What's that?
That was a bomb that would go. Boom. It
Okay.
was a fireworks.
Like a bottle rocket.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not a bottle rocket. It was a quarter stick of dynamite, and
Oh.
and it whistled like a bomb falling out of an airplane, and then it'd explode. Well, one time we're at this hotel in St. Louis, right? So he puts it down and gets a cigarette and puts it there. So when the cigarette burns down, it's going to hit the fuse. It's by a tree. So we're watching. And next thing you know, here comes a guy walking his dog, and all of a sudden, if the thing goes, and the dog takes off, and the guy, and then, and I don't remember if the tree, it was just a small tree, but I don't remember if it fell down there.
That scared the
Jesus
out of the guy, huh?
Did they ever hear about my famous deal? We were riding for Can-Am at the time. Jimmy Ellis, Jimmy Runyard, and Savitsky.
Okay.
Right? We ended up a whopping 17th, 18th, and 19th at the Nationals. And if you knew George Ellis, he used to like to have a little scotch after the race, not just a drink or two. So we're in the room, and he's disgusted. He goes, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Man. I said, that's when we carried, they were the first truck that came out with a big rig.
Can-Am.
Yeah, Can-Am. Yeah. So they had this Can-Am trail bike that the driver could get around, and George used to keep it in his room while we were at the race.
Okay.
I said, you know what, George, for $5, I'd put that Can-Am in that swimming pool. He pulls out $5. I take my wallet out of my pocket, go through the courtyard, hit the edge. Right. The only person that ever saw it was Merle Anderson. He was a Honda mechanic.
Would you just leave it in there?
Oh, no. They pulled it right out, and the Can-Am had a drain plug on the bottom of the crankcases in the water. It was running. Jimmy Ellis got it running in about 20 minutes. But that was...
little scotch-induced fun?
Well, that time, $5 was pretty important to me.
I say $5 is not a lot of money. I would have taken probably a little more than that for me. Did you? So you weren't living with Bob at that time, right? Was he down here in Lancaster when you guys were working together, or was he already?
He was in Sun Valley.
Already in Sun Valley. Okay.
Yeah. If you'd have seen him get ready for his Honda ride, he was so obsessed. That's why he got hurt. To just beat everybody.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He used to hit a big bag, listening to Rocky music, then hit a small bag, and stop like a three-minute round, and then get up and do it again. And up there, we had to drive probably 50 miles south to get on somewhat thawed ground. So one day we're going there, and he goes in the store and comes out with trail mix, right?
Okay.
I said, I got to get something. I go in and come out with a dozen of donuts. He goes, what's that? I said, that's freeway mix.
He can have the trail mix. You'll take the freeway mix?
Yeah, yeah.
What about eating contests? I heard he used to do eating contests.
Yeah. Well, that was he'd have Savitsky eat it.
Oh, okay.
You know,
like a food challenge type of stuff?
Oh,
or
yeah,
what?
like tacos, like 25 tacos in 10 minutes or,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff. In fact, I did one with the bell rep for $100.
Okay.
Right. Me and McCarty are there, and I said, Keith, let's go get a hot dog, see how fast I could eat it, okay? So we go up to, his name was Rothrop at the time. He'd come to the races, take care of Bell. So, hey, you think I could eat that hot dog in 10 seconds? No way, right? $100.
No problem. 10 seconds, huh?
Yeah.
You had to swallow it and everything be gone?
Yeah. Watch out, Joey Cheatwood.
Yeah,
Is that
I
his
guess.
name? The guy that Nathan Nathan.
I just remember Kobayashi. He was like he was the reigning champ for a long time. I can't even watch those contests. I get sick to my stomach. Dipping them in water and just ugh. Yeah, the eating contests thing are funny to me because we do a lot of those in the fire department.
Right.
We had a buddy. The last one we did, someone brought in 10 boxes of Krispy Kreme, just glazed donuts.
Right.
And you had 1 hour to see how many you could eat in that hour.
Right.
And I like donuts. I'm like, this is my jam. It was. I think we all put in $20, so 5 of us at the station or whatever. Or actually, it was a bigger house. I think we had 8 of us.
Lucky there wasn't a fire. No one would be able to move.
Oh, we'd have been puking in our mass. Anyway, I got to like the 8th donut, and it got real difficult.
Right.
I think somebody ate like 15 or 18 or something. Anyway, those were fun to me.
One of the funniest ones we had was, Steve Gordon. He used to come to the races, right?
Okay.
Well, we kind of set him up. We gave him a buttermilk donut, okay? And said, hey, can you eat this in 10 seconds? Yeah, no problem. Well, this gumba, which Italian is for stupid,
okay,
he puts this thing in and starts pushing it down. Now he's turning blue.
Now he's choking.
Now we got a Heimlich him, and here goes a donut across the room. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we did during the week, just to pass the time. I know that mine sounds stupid and childish, but
when you're
funny.
stuck on the road with a bunch of guys, this is the dumb stuff that happens, but it's fun. I remember we had McCarty on, and he told me that Bob liked to wrestle, that those guys were always wrestling.
Oh, yeah, him and Savitsky. Oh, yeah.
What was the deal with that? They just like
kill time.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes they'd walk out of the hotel and like some of the stuff was all duct taped. The little things in the middle where the phone is. They'd wrestle. It was, but they didn't do it intentionally. It just happened.
What about your worst moments with him? Any bad moments with Bob? Like you guys ever butt heads or have disagreements?
No.
Nothing major?
No. I mean, no, I didn't work on his bike, so that was fun for me.
Yeah.
Whatever we did.
You were just kind of hanging.
Yeah, I was hanging around and having fun. I'll tell you what was really funny is we go to, when Yamaha, they actually rented Disneyland.
Yamaha did?
Yeah, for their
dealer
show.
Okay.
When the dealer shows were big deals. So I go walking in. Bob says, hey, you want to go to, I'll go with you. So we go, walk up there. The president of Yamaha, oh, Bob's on, right? I go, okay. You sit here next to me. And Bob goes, well, my friend's here. There's no other seat. He looks at the vice president and says, move back. I wasn't working for Yamaha at that time.
The VP got bumped for you?
Oh, yeah.
Bob's got some pull.
Oh, yeah. At one time, man, he was like,
That's hilarious. I want to ask you about some of the different events that...
Now, I just want to tell you, are we just going to do the first 25 years today? You want to do the next 25?
No,
sometime?
look, I know it's... We're getting there.
No.
These are long shows, buddy. We're going through it all.
Hey, as long as I'll be here as long as you want me.
I never got to experience Trans Ams. Mm-hmm. A little bit before my time.
You mean when the Europeans came over? Yeah.
Do you have memories from those? I'm sure you went to probably all of them, huh?
Well, that's another race. What would go in my top 3 was that's when the Europeans would come over, and it used to be Best American. Roger would win, somebody else would win, the Europeans, and then it would be First American. That's how it started.
There was some pride in that, being the top
First American, yeah. Well, then, as with cars maker getting starting the training, it got a little bit harder for the Europeans. It wasn't like a pushover.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, you could ask Roger DeCoster this. He probably had the best battles in his career with Hannah.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. At Unadilla, they banged 3 times, and Bob's pipe was actually closed.
Smashed flat?
Yeah, flat. And then they go to Redbud. Bob was a little late. Roger's on the gate. Pulls Roger's bike off and says, "That's my spot. I want everybody off the gate. We got to redo it." Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. And a few times the number 1 sign came out. You know, between them two, obviously Bob. You know, but and then we went to St. Louis, and Bob is 45 minutes. Him and Roger, boom, 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 boom. Right. Bob comes in. He goes, "Man, my guts are killing me. That old bugger, he's too fast for me today." We go over to his bike, and it's boing, 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 boing. His shock was blowing up.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that there's 2 race series that were crazy, and that was Hannah versus Howerton. Remember when you want to talk about takeouts? That was a takeout.
Which one?
The one at Saddleback.
I don't think I ever saw
The
it.
Magoo jump.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, Hannah and Roger today, you know, after racing.
Yeah, I would have loved to.
Yeah.
That's like, you know.
You know, but here's.
That's
Magoo,
like Frazier and Ali.
right?
You know.
Yeah.
I never got to see that fight in person, which bums me out.
Well, we're at Saddleback, and this is when Howerton's on a 189, and Hannah's on a 230, right?
Okay.
Well, we're at Saddleback, and there was this thing in the back called Magoo's Leap, because Danny Magoo Chandler, rest his soul, he was a very exciting guy to watch race.
Yeah.
And
It's like a step up, right? Over a road
it
gap,
was like,
right?
Yeah. I mean, it was a jump. No, in fact, nobody was doing it. Okay. Yeah. Well, Bob actually stopped during the race and watched him do it, and then did it. Okay. And so he's racing with Howerton, and Howerton was beating him because his bike was much better and for different reasons. Okay. Yeah. So they're at Saddleback. And Howerton's riding out, and he's in first or second or whatever. Hannah's behind him. And instead of pulling away, he's brake checking him. Brake checking Bob? Yeah, yeah. Screwing with him.
Okay.
So they go over the leap, right? Howerton goes this way. Hannah comes, bam, right into him. In fact, Howerton dove at Hannah trying to grab him off his bike. That was a takeout.
That was a takeout.
And that was a deliberate takeout.
Did they fight after, or what happened?
Oh, no. No, Bob pulled away and had like a 25-second lead and let him catch him and pass him. And Howerton.
Is that right?
And when he came in, he said, "I just don't want to win that way. You know,
wow.
I just want to show him that
I want you to know I'm really going to beat you.
Don't screw with me, okay?
Yeah.
If you want to beat me, but just don't screw with me."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, would that ever happen today? Like, I just don't see that happening today.
Well,
I just appreciate that, whatever it was, a mindset or, you know, attitude that they had. Like, I don't know.
It was
what a fun era.
No, I mean, you got racers like that today, you know, that go for it, you know, but, you know, he knew the reason he was beating him was because of his bike, not because he was better than him.
Yeah.
So why are you screwing with me? That's what he said. Why is the guy screwing with me?
Yeah.
Bam. Stop screwing with him.
Yeah. Okay, what about USGPs? I've seen a couple of these here, but, you know, going back to, like, 70s and 80s, some of those. Do you have any good memories from USGPs?
The ones that used to be at Unadilla all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Unadilla, we used to go there, and it was dangerous to be in the mechanics area because the grass was so high you didn't even see a hole.
Oh,
I mean, when you went
ankle.
there, it was just high. Yeah, it was just high grass. Yeah. And, you know, then the funniest things, you'd see the Czech mechanics on the CZs. They'd have on like these bikini bathing suit bottoms and clogs right?
What?
Oh, yeah, in the mechanics area, and built like me. I mean, oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
The little, like, Speedo
Speedos,
shoots.
yeah, Speedos
Wow.
and clogs, and that was it.
That's a different vibe. That's
Oh yeah. That's some of the stuff you remember because it's something you've never seen before.
Right.
It's a Czechoslovakian in a Speedo in and clogs, but
something you never want to see
no.
again, probably.
But that's when Mosef was racing, and they basically came over and they kept an eye on them that they didn't defect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought about that. You're right.
And it was quite a different era. I mean, those guys. I mean, it seemed like the racers were bigger, like Carlquist and Mosef. I mean, bigger in stature.
Yeah.
Even
Heikki Mikkola. He's terrifying looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first time Bob ever raced with Heikki was in the motocross, before it was Motocross the Nations, Trophy the Nations.
Trophy the Nations.
Yeah. One was 250 and one was 500. And we were on the 500 one in Germany, right? And he's racing with Heikki. Bob's going over the jumps and Heikki's staying low, right? So at the end, Heikki Nicole beats him. Now, this is how naive Bob Hanna was. He goes, who's that joker that beat me on a Yamaha? Nobody should be beating me on a Yamaha. And I go, Bob, this is like the reigning 500 world champ.
Yeah, there's no shame in that. But
No, yeah.
he's not a joker.
Yeah, I mean, even when he came up, he was like the king out here and beat Weinert out here. And he goes, well, why should I race that series? I beat their champion. And then he got a call from Yamaha. Suzuki wanted them to stay local. And he went with Yamaha. So like it was crazy. The Europeans were big.
I wonder if that was because the bikes
They're pretty heavy.
heavier,
Yeah.
500s. So you just needed to be a bigger guy to work it.
Yeah.
Where now, even though it's a 450, they're built in such a way that they don't feel that big, right? So you could be a smaller guy, a little more compact, and
Yeah.
it's interesting. It is interesting how it's changed the stature of the best guys on.
The only bike I ever
Thorpe was a big dude.
Who?
Dave Thorpe.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to.
Ben Alberg.
Yeah.
He was big.
Even Carlquist, he was a big guy, right?
Yeah. You never saw a guy lay a bike down like Ben Alberg.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think I've seen a photo of him
at the turn in Carlsbad. The one after the first. You came around and it was the last turn before you went back past the starting line.
Yeah.
I mean that was a lay down kind of turn.
Yeah.
He'd put his leg over the top of the bars.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he laid that thing over. My story with him is I'm driving with him, right? And we're going to Colorado. We're going down Highway 70, down to Eisenhower, whatever pass that is.
Yep.
He's probably doing 120 in this van, right? We get pulled over, right, by a cop. He says, don't say nothing, okay? He pulls him over, and the cop goes up to him, and he just starts speaking Flemish to him, right? Pulls out an international license, shows him that. Cop goes, see ya. He couldn't understand it.
That's funny. That's a good way to get out of it.
And God bless his soul, too. Eric Gabors, he was a funny guy.
Was he?
Oh.
I'm so bummed I didn't get to ever meet him, too.
Oh, I used to stay at his house. And we're going to a super. I was over there with the Americans, helping them, but he also wore the goggles at the time.
Okay.
And I'm with him. And at this time he's riding for this Innsbrucken, an ice cream company, right?
Okay.
And it's like 7 o'clock, and we're still at his house. I go, Eric, this race is starting like 8 o'clock, and we're like 45 miles away. No problem. When a European says no problem, there's a problem.
Okay.
So we're going. All of a sudden, he pulls in the ice cream plant to get some ice cream to give the kids. Okay. Now we get back off, and Eric, we're going through these trees like 150 in his 500 Mercedes, and we get there on time. Then we were in Paris for Supercross, and we were going to the motor show in Bologna.
Yeah.
The big motor show. And it's hard to believe they had all these guys, and it was just a side thing, like something that people want to go watch. You know?
I did a supermoto race at the Bologna Motor Show.
Yeah,
same thing.
So
It
you
was
know what I'm
just,
talking about.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're in Paris, right? Eric says to me, "I'm going to Bologna with him." Now you know how far that is.
It's far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's driving. We're doing like 150 in his fifth, and Sylvan Gabor's his brother, and someone else is in the back, and I'm up front with him. And we're doing like 150. We stop to pay a toll. We pull out. We have a flat.
I'm doing 150.
Yeah.
It goes so fast, it just inflated itself.
How lucky were we
Oh, man.
to stop and pull out and know we have a flat when we're just doing 150?
Wow.
You know? So now we're driving, and he's driving, and he says to me, "Hey, help me stay up." Okay. So I
Was his English pretty good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He says to me, "Hey, how about helping me stay up?" I said, "Okay, Eric." So I doze off, and I'm snoring.
Oh.
And he goes, "Hey, I thought you were going to keep me up." I said, "Eric, everybody tells me I keep them up when I'm snoring." Right? But now I look out, and it's snowing, and he's doing like 90.
It's terrifying the way they drive over there, huh? Were you? I was going from Milan to. Oh crap! I'm not gonna remember now. Maybe Genoa. I can't remember. Anyway, somewhere in southern Italy in a van.
Yeah, that's Genoa.
In a van.
Yeah.
With Larry Ward, Mike Craig.
The Stingray.
Yeah, a handful of guys, right? American guys. We all flew in on the same flight. We're going to this race, and this driver, Italian guy, doesn't speak great English, just enough to get by, and he's driving way too fast.
Well,
he's got this Sprinter van just pinned,
Well,
and we're going, hey, we keep going, hey, you need to slow down. He's weaving in and out of traffic, and he goes, no, worry, I drive for Lamborghini. He's telling us he's like a Lamborghini test driver. And I mean, this van is not meant to go this speed, dude.
Right.
And we're, it's getting into some windy roads. Larry Ward is freaking out on him. And he finally grabs him by the trap right here, and he just says, "You slow down, or I'm going to yank you out of that seat and throw you out of the window." I mean, he was pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were, all of us, death grip on the thing going, dude, we're going to die.
Well, when you'd fly in there and they'd pick you up at the airport, they all wanted to prove to you that they were a Grand Prix racer.
Yeah.
You know? And the funny story there is I went to Saparitti's race.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Fast cross.
Yeah. And I'm there, and they were having a mountain bike for the halftime show. And John Tomac was there.
Oh,
right?
yeah?
Yeah. So I go there. I have no idea who's going to pick me up or anything. So I go out. I see John Tomac. I go, cool. Because at that time, I was actually going to some of those triathlons with that ball.
Yeah.
So I say, "Hey, John, somebody coming to pick you up." "Oh, yeah. Oh, good." Here comes a car. 3 guys come out. He's standing there. He goes, Bevo, you're here. And I go, "Hey, John, you need a ride?"
You ended up giving him.
Yeah, that was my John. But same thing. These guys get in the car, and they think if they hit their horn, everything stops. You ever notice that?
Yeah, it's crazy. They like their horns for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good stuff. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back here, and we got a lot of your entire career with your first goggle company to get through. So we got some great stories. Stay tuned. This is your TLD Timeout. We're going to be right back with more Bevo Forte. The temps are rising, snow is melting, days are getting longer, and if you haven't gotten on the Manscaped program, you've likely cultivated a bit of a rat's nest on your chest and your nether regions. Step out of the 60s, man, and join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use the code WhiskeyThrottle for 20% off plus free shipping worldwide. Those dark winters that our government warned us about can leave all of us a bit hairy, dirty, and a little depressed. Wash that bullshit off with Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 and brand new Ultra Premium Body Wash. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer is designed to trim hair on loose skin without biting you and leaving you bloody. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate nuts. It also comes equipped with a 4,000K LED spotlight will shine a light to the promised land that this year looks to be. A grooming routine isn't complete without applying Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver. These unique formulations take care of the smelliest part of your body, and they're a big boost to your confidence heading into summer. To complete the set, Manscaped threw in their Shed travel bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs as free gifts to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. And the new product that needs no introduction, the Ultra Premium Body Wash from Manscaped, solves all three for the perfect addition to your daily grooming routine. But in the shower. This great smelling wash is cologne infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. Wash off the stank of winter hibernation and use the best tools for the job. Whatever your travel plans are, knock down the vegetation first and be sure to travel to manscaped.com for our exclusive offer of 20% off plus free shipping with the code WhiskeyThrottle. Here's to clean, freshly shorn balls this spring. 20% off and free shipping. Use the code WhiskeyThrottle at manscaped.com. This spring, dial in your ding-a-ling with Manscaped.
Dunlop. There is a reason every AMA championship in the past decade was won on Dunlop tires. They are the best. Choose the best performing tire and a brand that has never wavered in their support of our sport. Choose Dunlop. Pro Circuit. Pro Circuit products are designed with one goal in mind: winning. Through passion and hard work, Pro Circuit has operated the most successful 250 team in the history of the sport. They use that same formula when developing exhaust, engine, and suspension parts for every brand. When only the highest level of performance is acceptable, trust Pro Circuit.
Since 2009, Seat Concepts has been dedicated to making the best aftermarket seats. More comfort, more grip, more riding. For 10 years, we've continued to raise the bar. Innovation and American craftsmanship make Seat Concepts the world-leading manufacturer of power sports seats.
Something from nothing. That's what Nihilo Concepts is about. It starts with a spark, an idea, a concept, which leads to a design, and finishes with engineered excellence with the highest quality products created with durability in mind. All our products are made in the USA at our state-of-the-art facility in Stuart, Florida. Whether you are a weekend warrior, ride for fun, or at the highest level of competition, Nihilo Concepts offers innovative titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber parts for your dirt bike. We offer a wide variety of products that you can customize to your liking. Browse our site for foot pegs, brake tips, engine components, specialty tools, frame grip tape, lever grips, carbon fiber components, motor stands, our secondary on-switch, plus much more. Head to NihiloConcepts.com and see for yourself why factory teams like Red Bull KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, Troy Lee Designs Gas, Orange Brigade, Club MX, KLM Gas, and some of the fastest riders in the world choose Nihilo Concepts.
Specialized Bicycles. Specialized leads the way in the world of bicycling. Whether it's cross-country racing, downhill, e-bikes, enduro, road, gravel, dual slalom, dirt jumping, or all mountain bikes that do it all, Specialized has the perfect ride for you. The brand is synonymous with engineering excellence and innovation that steers the industry. Visit your local Specialized dealer for a test ride and see just how good Specialized products are.
I try to keep on keeping on.
OGO Power Sports. OGO has perfected the carrying case. Motocross gear bags, helmet bags, boot bags, hydration packs, backpacks, and travel bags, to name a few, have all been meticulously engineered to maximize space and surpass durability standards that would make NASA proud. Simply the best. OGO Power Sports.
Connected. Mesh intercom on.
It's cool to be able to hear what they talk about and how fast they go, throttle control, braking. Really cool.
Extend your leg out. There you go. Good job. Good throttle control, Lonnie.
That's a great training tool
It was a lot of fun to be on the track with them. Hey, Lano.
What?
Can you pull off over here when you get to me and your brother?
Okay.
With a rich history in motocross, ProX has been dedicated to supplying quality components since 1975. Whether you're rebuilding an engine or just need a new chain, ProX Racing Parts aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. ProX has over 9,000 part numbers and over 60 different product types that are manufactured by highly reputable or even OEM suppliers and are offered at affordable prices to help keep riders on the bike instead of in the garage. Visit ProX.com to search parts for your bike or check them out at your favorite online or local dealer.
Audio Jungle.
The guys are just breaking in their race bikes, which will leave on the semi this Saturday to go to the first Supercross for our coast in Orlando. So the guys are just be goofing off a little bit, do some cool photos, do some cool videos. When you go racing, you want to do well, but a big key is keeping the bikes on the track. That's why we chose to work with Motul.
Expectations coming in as a rookie is just to try and get my feet wet and honestly just send it, see where I end up and do my best out there, but just ride aggressive and ride like myself in practice and I should have a good time.
Challenges of this sport, I believe, is just simply staying healthy. With how fast we're going and what we're doing, your margin for mistake is really, really small.
Stay Sick. If you have little rippers, then you have had to have seen Stay Sick bikes by now. We have created bike and experiences that allow kids to develop sooner and empower them to find their own ride. From learning to ride to sharpening skills, the Stay Sick promise is accelerated growth. Whatever path your family chooses, it's going to be the ride of your life. Stay Sick Stability Cycles.
You ever heard the phrase that the harder you work, the luckier you are? Well, at Luck Apparel, they believe in an acronym that kind of sums it up a little more simply than that: laboring under complete knowledge. So it isn't just some random chance that determines what your outcome or results are going to be. It's being educated and working your butt off to get it done. And I think that that goes hand in hand with the motocross industry. You don't get lucky into a win. You work your ass off and you make it happen. So check out Luck Apparel. They've got t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, all kinds of cool stuff. And we're stoked to have them on board here at the Whiskey Throttle Show in 2022. If you're in the market for a toy hauler trailer, car trailer, cargo trailer, look no further than Custom Outfitters, one of our new partners for this year. These guys do an awesome job, even so far as to dial in the inside of Sprinter vans, which have become the new standard moto transportation for moto. These guys can handle it all. They use ATC world-class trailers, top shelf service and performance in their products. Custom Outfitters out of South Dakota doing an awesome job. We're stoked to have these guys on board this year. So whether you're looking to just do some camping with the family, looking for a trailer that can fit all your toys to go out to the desert or wherever, look no further than Custom Outfitters.
Hey, I'm on vacation every single day because I love my occupation. Hey, I'm on vacation. If you don't like your life, then you should go and change it.
Welcome back to the show. That was your Troyley Designs timeout. If you have not been over to TroyleyDesigns.com and seen everything going on over there, get over there. The new SE5 helmet is out. They've been working on this thing for a couple of years, trying to tweak the SE4, find ways to improve it. They've got better ventilation, more safety built into this thing. It is incredibly light. Just an amazing helmet all the way around. And Troy and the guys here, with the help of the race team and their affiliates, continue to push the envelope in helmet safety. It's a paramount importance to them because, you know, Troy says, hey, I ride. I want to be safe. All my buddies ride. My kid rides. Like, I need to make sure they're protected. So he definitely has a vested interest. Great stuff over there. All the mountain bike gear is out. All the new line is out. Get over to TLD and check out everything up on there. Back to Bevo. So I want to talk about, since we're at a halftime.
Whoa.
Oh.
I just want to show everybody that you're a man of your word.
There it is.
There it is, my swag, available on his website.
Yeah.
Be the coolest guy in school, right here.
I got more for you too, Bevo. Next time I see you, I'll get you a hat, whatever you need. You like hats, beanies, sweatshirts, I'll get you taken care of.
Well, I just want to show everybody you're a man of your word.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You know, a lot of people say, hey, I got something for you, and You leave and you go, hey, they forgot to give it to me.
No, I got you. And like I said, I
did a commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
I am endorsing your shirt.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're at our halftime, so I want to talk about halftime shows. You and I, you started telling this off camera, and I said, whoa, wait. We need to talk about this. So when I think about halftime entertainment, right, like now you think, okay, KTM Junior Supercross Challenge or the freestyle stuff they're doing at some of these, or I remember Doug DeMocus from, that was kind of my way back memory.
The Wheelie
I always
King.
felt like
the
he
Wheelie
got,
King.
Yeah, the Wheelie. I felt cheated when I realized that he had a motor that spun the front wheel.
Well,
somehow. I mean, I don't know. It's still difficult.
You've done a wheelie, and you know when that front wheel stops, your wheelie's over.
That's right. That's right.
But
I still felt cheated.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, then he did something with a quad on tight ropes.
Yeah. No. He was a stud.
yeah.
I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying that was as a kid.
You never
I was
see
like,
anybody at a cocktail glass, have you? He used to eat glass.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's
after hours.
That's one way to clean out your intestinal tract.
After hours, he was quite the character.
Oh yeah, you get a couple scotches in him, and
ooh,
watch out. Okay, so you were telling me about some different halftime shows. We talked about the LA Kite guy, and I vaguely remember seeing this, and it didn't work out. Tell me about that one. What you remember from it?
Well, like you said, right now they're actually promoting motorcycles. The KTM Challenge is unbelievable for the sport.
The Stasic race, the Stasic bike to me is
because
incredible.
they're getting young people involved.
Yes,
I mean if kids are going out and their dad's sleeve is out to here. Dad, can we do it? Can we do it?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty happy and proud that we've been a part of that program 100% since its start.
Yeah.
And so is Troy Lee.
And the Stasic deal now is even bringing them in earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
These kids can't even ride a bicycle, but they already can ride a motorcycle. I mean, that is so big for the growth and future of our sport.
Well, I was talking to Blackwell, and is Mark Blackwell, and he's kind of in charge of something like that. Him and Burleson, the ex-KTM.
Dick Burleson?
Yeah. No, his brother.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
I know. He was with KTM. Well, I was in their company one time, and they were telling me that...
John Eric.
Yeah, John Eric. And they actually... There's a study out there that when a child learns how to ride a bicycle, they do better in school because they've accomplished something in their life. And that's why they got into this whole bike thing for kids. Mark Blackwell and John Pierre.
John Eric, yeah.
Yeah, John Eric, excuse me. And they're really happy about what's going on. And can you imagine you having that when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, listen.
Maybe you might have had BMX.
I did race BMX,
right.
But, I mean, if you would have dropped off a Stasic bike to me, any kid, I can't imagine any kid doesn't just go...
Yeah,
just light up. I mean, the coolest thing you do all day.
Well, it's before that, it was a Weisinger.
Yeah, that was the earliest you could
But now
get
you can go from that Stasic into Weisinger into 60, And at the end of the day, motorcycling amateur is really a good family sport.
Absolutely.
Because I used to tell these kids that, like when I used to do the little introduction at the KTM thing, I'd say, hey, turn around and thank your parents because I know none of you kids drove here. So the parent has to be involved.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, before they had that, then they were doing some quads, promoting quads. And then before that, they had the kite guy. And we were at the LA Coliseum, and they had that turnstile where you went up in the bleachers, went around, and came back down. And it was pretty nice-sized jump coming out of it.
It's a big drop. Yeah.
So we're up there. We were working up there, the mechanics, and we hear this 450, probably a 500 Honda two-stroke, right? And it starts this bike up, and he's got these wings on it, right? And we hear ba-ba, 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 and I'm going, man, that guy better take the choke off, right?
It was like a hang glider set up, mounted to the bike.
Yeah. So he comes out the turnstile, and he's supposed to fly halfway down, land on the start, right? He comes out and goes, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Like right into the berm. And I mean, basically got more of an applause because if you'd have made it, big deal. But when you do that, that was one of them.
The crowd lit up.
And then one time we were in Kansas City, Missouri, and they had Mr. Dynamite.
See, I never heard of this.
Where he got in a box and blew himself up. But I used to be, like I told you in construction, I was going to be a blaster.
Yeah.
Well, Dynamite goes to the least force. So when you were doing like what I was doing, you create a crack and then it follows the crack.
Okay.
But when he's there, he's got something solid in here. It blows up. He comes out. Oh, my God, I can't hear it. I'm dizzy. But there's really not that much to that one.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Little
and then
sleight of hand.
You know, these nets we had those nets way back. Unfortunately, it was for the guy they would shoot out of a cannon. I mean, it was crazy some of the stuff they did. I mean, there was a guy that had cardboard boxes in front of a car, and he was going to hit the cardboard boxes, get ejected from the bike, and end up over the top of the car.
Okay.
You ever see a bug? You ever see a bug in a windshield?
For your halftime entertainment, we're going to watch a man die.
We're going to watch this guy turn into a bug. Bam. But that was some of the stuff they had.
What about this water one? You said a guy actually did die.
Yeah.
In Houston.
Yeah. Long time ago.
What was he doing? He was
going to fall into a tub of water.
It was like 2 feet deep or something,
Yeah.
right? There's like the high divers that go into the little pool. And he missed the pool?
Well, he's done it a few times. I mean, you just don't walk up there and say, hey, I'm going to do this, you know?
Yeah.
And he kind of missed it during practice.
Ugh.
And one of the reasons was there was a gentleman named C.E. Allman, okay? And he was with, at that time, Pace Management.
Okay.
And he basically knew all these guys because they used to have a big show in Houston, a stunt show.
Oh.
And he invited us down there one year, me and Savitsky, to race in a demolition derby.
Okay. Okay.
So,
you guys seem to like that, demolition derby.
Oh, yeah. So he's in this demolition derby, right? And they interview him. So we're in Houston. And I don't know how many people are like football fans like I am. I'm a Steeler fan, right? And every year, Houston would win their division indoors and then come to Pittsburgh and play on snow and ice. And lose, right? So I said, hey, Polak, you want to... That's what I used to call him. He's Polish. I said, hey, Polak, hey, why don't you announce that you're from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the world champs, right? Well, it was disco night, and they gave these records out, 45s.
Boy. Yeah.
So they're doing a lap, like, around, and they go, car number, whatever, and John Savitsky from Pittsburgh. He's not from Pittsburgh. From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the world champion Steelers. 40,000 people are booing him and throwing the disco records at him. He goes, what did you do that for? Hey, Jimmy Weinert said one time, if 50% of the people are cheering for me and 50% are booing me, that means 100% of the people are there.
100% of the people are making noise for me.
Yeah, they know I'm here. And then I did a stunt in San Diego. When we were sponsored to Supercross, they used to do the introductions, you know. And unfortunately, it's early. People, you know, they'll say your name and, you know, maybe your uncle or cousin will go, yay, look, he's down there, right? But so I said to my friend, San Diego, hates Steelers. From Yamaha down there, Orange County Yamaha or whatever, he got me
NCY or which one?
The one with, I used to call him Cutie Patootie. He's, was one of the Yamaha shops down there, right? A friend of mine. And at 73, some of my friends, I'll call you up halfway down the road and give you the real name. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I have this poncho that says Steelers. And my friend there, the pyro, he goes, you're not going to go up there on the stage with that. Oh, yeah, I am. He goes, no, you're not. I'm up on the big screen with this big Steeler thing on, right? Now, 40,000 people know I'm there, okay? I'm getting booed, you know, and I'm talking about the goggle boo, and I go, who wants a free pair of goggles? Instant yay. It was all over. They're clapping and screaming at me.
That's funny. How quickly they'll change their tune.
Oh, yeah. When the word free is involved,
right? You said you had a really good Mitch story from the Paris Supercross. Let's hear that one.
No, yeah, I have some from there, but I have a Troy Lee, since we're at his home here, and Mitch Payton story.
Let's hear it.
At Peterson Publications, used to have a sponsor banquet, and they'd invite people. So obviously they invited Troy, they invited me, they invited Damon Bradshaw, and Mitch. So we go down to Pro Circuit. Mitch gets us a limo. Okay. Well, next thing you know, Damon's out waving, the typical stuff in limos with a sunroof. Now, at the end of we go to Chase, this Hollywood place for the stars eat or whatever. So Mitch has a claw, right, from a piece of crab.
Oh, jeez.
And he's going to throw it at Troy, and a waiter comes out.
Hits him in the eye?
Yeah, by accident. So now, Mitch Payton, he puts on this baby face when he's in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. So he gets out of that one. So now we're on our way home. Now they've had a few beverages.
A couple bowls of loudmouth soup.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And they're wrestling and they're doing this. And we went to some club and Troy Lee brings the plant from the front end and then there's dirt in this limo. And next thing you know, they're fighting, wrestling. Troy Lee's shoe comes off. I look at it. I hope he doesn't charge me for this after he hears the story. About $300 per shoe. Yeah, at the window, right?
Tossed the shoe.
He tossed the shoe. So he's down there, right? And he doesn't have a shoe. We stop. The limo guy comes back, looks at it and goes, "What is the matter with you guys?" Right? And then Mitch, looking down like this, right? Looks up and says, "I'll clean it." And the guy goes, "Get out of here." I just don't, So that was one of my Mitch Payton stories. And Damon Bradshaw, who was just a rookie, and he's going,
"What am I? Who am I hanging out with?"
Yeah. And
you know what is funny? There are so many stories of Troy's that end up with him missing one shoe.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm telling you, I've heard at least 10. And that's another one.
Well.
And I always wondered, where do his shoes go? Bevo throws them out the window.
Well, then this other one's kind of nasty, but it was fun.
Let's hear it.
We were at the Paris Supercross, where you want to talk about nonsense. It happened there.
Yeah.
Because now we're really bored, okay? So Mitch says to me, and obviously if you don't know, Mitch is in a wheelchair, which you probably know anyway. He says, why don't we walk down to the stadium? It was about downhill and stuff. Well, to get down and downhill, you have to go up and uphill. So Mitch is struggling. I go, "Hey, Mitch, let me help you." Okay, because he never wanted help.
Yeah.
So I just start pushing him, and he's back looking at me, talking with me, and I go, And in Europe, there's a lot of dog waste on the streets. You know that.
Yeah.
And they don't pick it up. So I said, Mitch was a jokester, and you had to always pay him back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He'd do stuff to me, I'd do stuff to him. So we're walking up this little hill, and there's all this dog waste on the ground, and so I start wheeling his wheels to it, and he doesn't know it. We get to the top of the hill. "Okay, Mitch, you okay?" "Yeah." He gives a couple spins, and he's got
doo-doo all over.
He's got doo-doo all over his hands.
That's great. Well,
but that was it. Everyone had little prankster things to each other.
Oh yeah.
We put him on top of the van one time and drove him through a drive-through.
You did?
Oh yeah, in his chair.
Strapped him to the top of a van.
I don't think we strapped him. We just put him up there.
Oh jeez. All right.
But you couldn't turn your back on Mitch either.
Oh no, he's the first one to do it.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, he's great about he'll take it. It's not like he gets mad ever.
No,
because
nobody gets mad.
Yeah. Well, some people these days especially get mad, but Mitch knows he dishes it out. So if you give it back to him, he's like, "All right."
In fact, I went to, remember when all those men friends were popping up
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I had a black shirt, and I put on Mitch Payton's man friend, right? So I am officially his man friend.
All right. How does that pay?
Not so well.
Not so well.
No. And some places will get you kicked out of.
Yeah, I suppose it would. You won't get served. I think the Marie Callender's across the street here will kick you out. Okay, so then you went to work for Scott Goggles,
right?
And you were there 30 years.
Yep.
Which is crazy. I mean, this is how I met you, is through Scott Goggles, and you mentioned it earlier. You know, like the first thing that comes to mind when I think about you, and I don't know why this stands out to me, but Steel City, last National of '99, I got the whole shot in the second moto. I think I had gotten second in the first moto, or maybe it was vice versa. But anyway, I got a good start, and I was running up front.
Look at Ping. I was the only one there. He got a giant hole shot.
I did have a hole shot, didn't I?
Yeah.
I did. Okay.
You got it. Look, it's me and you. Nobody else was there in '99. It was an unbelievable hole shot, as a matter of fact.
Well, you were standing.
Wheelied all the way up the front.
You were standing in the first turn every lap of that race, waving me on, and I was like, just like Stanton said, it was like, oh man, Bevo's cheering for me. I better keep this going. And I thought that was really cool. You know, you didn't have to do that. You didn't do it at every race.
Right.
I think you were genuinely happy to see me get a good start and be up front. And
glad you didn't turn around. I was doing that to Bradshaw, chasing you.
Anyway, you were there for a long time.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of cool when you see a guy like, you know, obviously you had a great career, okay, but for you to get a whole shot and win that moto, that was icing on the cake for your career. Sort of like me winning 3 Supercrosses as a mechanic, you know?
Yeah. Well, Nationals weren't my jam. I was a top 10 guy, but rarely a podium guy. I had a handful of podiums throughout my career. That was one of my better motos, and you recognized that, and you were excited for me. So
was I building your goggles then for you?
Yep.
You know, I did that with Mickey Diamond.
Yeah.
When he was on his Husky, before his Honda.
Okay.
We went to a race, and he was starting to really like pop into the top 10, and I wasn't building his goggles. And I went up to him in Orlando, and I said, "Hey, Mickey, I really like the way you're riding now. You really deserve for me to build your goggles." And he thought I gave him $100,000.
He was excited, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, it was like, man, I made it to getting my goggles built by Bevo. I mean, you know, but it was I took pride in building the guy's goggles.
That's awesome. No, it was always fun to see you. You were always a smiling face and helpful.
Hey, it's just as easy. It's easier to smile than frown.
Absolutely, but a lot of people don't know that apparently. So throughout this, 80s, 90s, 2000s, you worked with. I was trying to think of all the guys, and basically everybody. Who didn't you work with would be easier to say.
Well, I worked with Georgie Holland, and I worked with Guy Cooper. I did Bradshaw. I did LaRocco. At that time, I went to my first amateur race with Larry Myers, and he was with High Point at the time.
Larry Myers, the announcer?
Yeah. He was working for High Point Products.
Okay.
And I went down there, and he would go to the amateur races, and we're walking through the pits. We ain't even going 5 feet. Hi, Larry. Hi, Larry. He's stopping. Hi, Larry. I said, "Larry, this is pretty impressive." He goes, "Well, you come to these amateur races, and the people will get to know you, and it's crazy. I mean, I start going down there. Next thing you know, I'm going 5 feet. Hi, Bevo. Hi, Bevo. Hi, Bevo, right? And I got all these young guys because I was there. No other goggle company was there. I was there. Got relationships with the families. And to tell you the truth, those relationships went right to the pro ranks.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you take Stanton. Stanton turned money down to stay with me. Big money.
Is that right?
Yeah. Bradshaw, same thing. I mean, can you imagine going up to Doug Henry when he was ready to go on Honda and win championships and offer him $2,000, and he said, okay. Just like that, because at that time he was with DGY and had to wear a different brand. And he said, he came up to me and said, "I just signed with Honda. I can wear your goggles." I go, "Okay. How much you want?" $2,000. That's fine. Good. Boom.
Wow.
You know, and it was just relationships that you built, you know, and they were strong, and I continued to do that for years. when we'd go to Loretta Lynn's, my whole family would come, and my wife would open up the doors, and you could walk in and grab anything breakfast. At breakfast in my place, it was pancakes.
Oh, yeah.
SOS, which that is. That's the Army term.
Yeah, shit on a shingle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And see, I don't know how far I could go with this.
We don't have a whole lot of rules here.
And, then I start making Bevo bagels, and I'd make 36 of them, and people come in, get a bagel, and it was just a ham and cheese or a bacon and cheese on a bagel.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, we made a lot of good relationships.
There's a lesson in that, because I don't think it's just goggles.
No.
It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Right.
Success in life and in business, it's all about relationships, right? And you were really, really good at that. Genuinely. You didn't go, okay, I'm going to try to make a bunch of friends and be nice.
No.
That was just you.
At the mini Olympics one year, Thanksgiving, my wife and Sharon Richards put out 125 meals.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Would Scott reimburse you for that money? Like to pay for all that food?
Well, I think they would.
It's expensive. Yeah, I would hope
well,
so.
The good part was at that time, one thing about Bill West, the ex-promoter, he was great about doing stuff like that. Like, he'd buy all the turkeys and then tip, and Ron Tishner, Sr., would cook them all, and then people would bring a dish.
A side dish, okay.
Yeah. So we got a couple turkeys off of them, and people brought the stuff, and my wife made some mashed potatoes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just a big family thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is even when we went down to the winter series, right? Way before, early, Bill West would have something after the race. Like one day he had a big trailer of oysters and he's shucking oysters, or they'd have some kind of food at the end for the privateers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. Like I said, it was a whole different atmosphere.
You know what was so, and this is something when I talk about supermoto, I don't know if you ever went to a lot of those or got involved in that sport, but when it was kind of in its heyday there in the, would have been early 2000s to 2010, that was kind of its window. It was a lot like old school moto where we would, everyone was fiercely competitive on the track, but when it was over, everyone gathered at one of the trucks, and there was a guy from Wisconsin. Gosh, I'm brain farting on us now. He ran a KTM team. Super nice. Chris Fillmore rode for him.
That's a bad brain fart.
Well, anyway, I listen, I'm 47. I'm having brain farts too. But anyway, he would cook beer brats, and have beer, and just, it was just everybody, hey, come on over. Everyone was welcome.
Right.
And you'd hang out, and it was like, man, this reminds me of motocross when I was a little kid.
Right.
Let's compete hard, but then let's enjoy this. We're here for fun. That's why we do this, right? And
that's how it was.
We've lost that in our sport a bit, and that's a bummer.
That's how it was at Loretta Lynn's. They used to call it the Snake Pit, where the Tishner, Bradshaw, and all these people hung out, and at night they'd have food, and and Matasevich came there sometime, and they couldn't believe, because they came from California. You go, wow, this is kind of cool what you guys do, and I'll tell you, it's it got to the point where when people would come to the race, they'd bring them to my motorhome. Like when Bobby Bowden's son came, not Bobby, the son, to do a motivation talk.
Okay.
I think he was Bobby Bowden. Anyway, they bring him to my place. Hey, can you make him this food? Yeah, no problem. He was on the Atkins diet, and say, can you make a mistake and stuff? So he did. But that's how it was. I want to pat myself on the back. I think I started hospitality.
You did. You were the first hospitality.
Yeah. And and it was great, because we have a distributor network, Parts Unlimited, Tucker Rocky, those two companies. And when they would come to the race, I told them, hey, when you come in here, it's Switzerland. Mm-hmm. Everybody
gets along.
Hey, you may be competitors, like you said, in the stores, but when you're in here, it's okay.
Yeah, I like that. So tell me about, I just want to go through some of these guys and tell me what kind of stands out. some of these guys you worked
Well,
for.
while we're still on food, can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you go to my website for 1995, I have every recipe I made. That's a joke.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, wow, I didn't know you're selling them. You do have good recipes. You should sell them. Let's go back to even, you worked with Ricky, Bubba, and Travis all at a point in their amateur career, right?
Oh, yeah.
What stands out for you about those three, their career?
Well, Ricky Carmichael was flying through the air at about 4 years old. He's doing the jumps of the 250s and that stuff. But Ricky was, Jeannie Carmichael was really monitoring his career at an early point in his life. And he'd come over to my van, right? And Ricky's like this tall at that time.
Yeah, 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
He's as wide as he is tall.
He would go inside my van and straighten it up a little bit, and I'd give him a candy bar because he was kind of not.
Mom wouldn't let him have that.
No. So he'd sneak over and hang out with me for candy bars and stuff. And James, I didn't have quite this relationship that I had with Ricky. He
was a little more quiet, wasn't he? A little more reserved and
Yeah. And who was the last one?
Pastrana.
Pastrana. He used to ride with a koala bear on his back when he was an amateur. Yeah. Like a backpack.
Yeah.
And now today, I basically got, I get along with the Carmichaels, that's when all of a sudden other goggles came down there, and I wasn't really into any kind of contingency for amateurs because I felt that put too much pressure on the kid.
Yeah.
Because I've seen guys that their dads would pack up and get mad, and and I didn't want the kids to look like that they had to perform so they could get to the next race.
That's too much pressure on a kid. Way too much.
Right.
I agree.
So when other goggles came down there, they started offering these kind of contingency programs, and that's when I lost a few of my riders, like Ricky, Bubba, Stewart, and Pastrana. To this day, I send him goggles.
Is that right?
In fact, when he went on the Motocross the Nations, he came up to me and goes, "Hey, I don't have any goggles." I go, "Well, you want to use ours?" No. Travis Pastrana to say, "Hey, how about some goggles? You want to use them?" And he uses them. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he, and the next words were, "Hey, I'll have to go. Hey, is Helen in there?" in the motorhome, like, "Hey, you want to say hi to her?" Travis Pastrana is genuine. He is definitely a genuine person. He stayed the longest to do autographs. I mean, he just enjoys life.
He hasn't changed a bit.
No.
As long as I've known him, which would be 99. So,
right.
23 years, he's the same kid.
Right.
Which is great.
And has the same hop in his step.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit of a limp now. He gets up like you and I do.
Yeah. But, I send him stuff for his kids, and he sends me photos of kids. And, I mean, that's a relationship, that we made. Doug Henry, same thing. Yeah. Stanton, he does adventure rides up in Michigan for Triumph. And, he says, "Hey, can you help me out?" And always uses our stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing, what kind of bond I got with those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, that's why I wanted to ask. What about some of the 80s, 90s guys like Rowdy, RJ, Lachine, Bale, Stanton? Like we talked about Jeff a little bit, but would you ever work with those other guys?
Well, the problem, what happened in those years, okay? I had Bailey, Lachine, and Stanton.
Okay.
Other company had Ward, Johnson, and
Bale.
Okay.
Yeah. Who was Bradshaw with? You ran your stuff for a long time.
Yeah, Bradshaw too. But he came a little bit later.
Okay.
Just a little bit later. And so then the dominance of the amateurs coming up sort of went away when, as we say, the comets changed.
Yeah.
But the good part is that when the other goggle companies went after my guys, they stayed less money for me. So, I mean, and that's when the whole goggle things change. Where, sometimes they pick money over quality.
Yeah. It is hard as a racer knowing you've only got this little window to make money.
Yeah.
You gotta, a couple $1,000, $5,000, you can leave that on the table, but it's like the numbers that I'm hearing that guys get, and maybe the economy is maybe not right now, it's not allowing for it, but at its peak, what guys were getting paid to wear goggles, I mean, it's like a median average income for a year for a normal family.
Yep, and
I don't know how you sell enough goggles to even make it back to even.
Well, the thing is when the managers hit, that was when personal relationships went away a little bit.
Yeah.
But I never had a problem with it because, like Ivan Tedesco, he went on, and I just said to Ivan, I said, Ivan, it's not that I love you, I can't afford you.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with a couple of guys that went from the 250s up, managers are telling me, well, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, who's going to do this? And I said to one manager, which I don't think we ever had a conversation after, I said, well, while you're looking in that crystal ball, how's our sales? Because that's what that's really what drives all of this, It's not a popularity contest, it's sales at the end of the day.
Yeah.
For motorcycles, for everything. That's what makes the motorcycle industry run is sales.
Yep.
And he said he didn't talk to me after that.
Yeah, the crystal ball doesn't guarantee sales, does it?
Right.
All right. What about? Is there any other riders that what about Wyndham? You worked with Wyndham a long time.
Oh yeah. Well, Motocross the Nations worked with him.
Yeah. Oh, when he Puerto Rico, that team. Yeah. But I want to say his whole amateur career, and then I can't remember through his pro career. Were you with him the whole time?
I was with him, and then it wasn't my decision. It was someone else's when he was having a kind of
those rough
spin.
years. Yeah.
And he went with Spy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And the funny part about that is at the Motocross the Nations, right? Well, I saw him and I called him. I said, he's been retired a while. I said, hey, if you don't have a goggle guy, let me know. We'll help you. We'll build your goggles and stuff. Well, the funny part about it is his package didn't show up. Not from me, okay?
From the other.
So he calls me up and says, I go, what, do you need goggles? What the hell are you beating around the bush for? Right. Yeah, can John, we'll make you some goggles, And, I'm glad he actually thought about, hey, Bevo will take care of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. He stayed at my house when he was a kid for a couple of days and stuff. And, Dwayne, his dad, he used to be in the motorhome all the time at the races,
Yeah.
And like I said, we built relationships, treated people the way you should treat people, fair, It wasn't Doug Dubach, classic example. He comes up to me one day and he says, hey, this other goggle company offered me more money. I said, Doug, I'm going to tell you one thing. You're not going to get the most money off me, but I'll guarantee I'll pay you longer. And that was the case. He said, you're right. And when I see him now, I still give Doug Dubach goggles and stuff and his kid and stuff. And he said, you know what? I never realized that until, later in life, what you said to me. I'm not going to pay you the most, but I'll pay you the longest.
Yeah. That's good. What, do you have any good stories about Wyndham?
I'm trying to think. I mean, Kevin was more subdued than the other guys. I mean, he didn't like.
Yeah.
He wasn't as flashy off the track.
Have you talked to him lately? Is he doing okay?
Yeah. Well, at one point he owned 13 Planet Fitnesses.
I know. I got someone that helps him in that kind of was breaking down how much he makes off of those.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whew, I did not do the right things with my money.
Well, the thing is that's when he was with Geico.
Yeah.
And the owner,
Grondel, right?
Grondel, the founder of it.
He set him up.
Yeah. Same with Kennard.
Oh, Trey owns some Planet Fitness gyms?
Yeah. I don't know if he still owns them, but he had them.
Yeah, I just didn't realize they generated so much money. It's awesome. I'm stoked for him. That's great. I need to get him on the show. He kind of disappears into the woods out there, and he doesn't come around too much.
He's a great guy, though.
He's awesome. Yeah. One of the best. Okay, so the other thing I want to ask you about
most talented.
Well, he's definitely on that conversation, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about most talented guys ever. Did you know Joel Robert? I'm kind of bouncing back, but did you ever work around with him?
I know Joel. I knew him. Obviously, when I met him, he was done racing.
Yeah.
But when I'd go to any kind of European race, I'd talk to him and stuff. But basically, I had really good relations with Eric Gabors.
Okay.
And if I have relations with him, obviously, I'm with the Belgians, automatically.
Yeah. He just seemed. I hear a lot of stories about him being a character.
Oh yeah.
And
Did you hear the one where he used to smoke?
Yeah.
Okay. And he went up and this is a tall tale. I have no facts, so don't fact checks me anybody or don't say, what are you saying that for? But I heard that he went up and put a cigarette out on Roger's handlebars. Now, I've never questioned Roger about that,
I'll have to ask Roger about it.
Yeah. Don't tell him I told you, because that's like a folk law or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Wives tale.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a story about him in racing in South Africa, and he had I'm going to get this wrong, and maybe it was Roger that even told me this. He was on Roger's show. He told this story about how he had like this whiskey bottle, and it was empty. He filled it with water or some drink.
Oh, I got one of those too.
And he was walking through the pits, chugging on this thing, and then he went to the line for the race, and he was kind of pretending like he was drunk, stumbling around, and everyone was losing their mind. Anyway, well, he sounds like just a good time.
That happened in New Orleans there was a lot of fun involved. They had a riverboat cruise the night before the New Orleans Supercross.
Okay.
So here's Marty Tripes.
What years? You're talking
Marty Tripes versus Hannah.
So early 80s, late 70s-ish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Marty Tripes says to Hannah, "Hey, Hannah, let's shoot some tequila and see who's going to win the race tomorrow night."
Oh, no.
Okay? So Bob goes, "Okay." Marty's going like this. Bob's going like that. Okay? Marty is...
So Bob's throwing him over his shoulder.
Yeah.
Wait, did Bob drink?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Did you know the first national he raced, he got heat exhaustion in the Battle of New Orleans?
No.
The one where the 5 guys went down to the finish, Billy Grossi and Lackey screwed with Karsmarker, and it was wild.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Take him to the hospital after?
Yeah. I mean, and after that, he never went in air conditioning.
Oh.
I mean, one time he let me sleep in his room, numerous times, and I go, "Bob, it's pretty hot in here, ain't it?" Look at that air conditioner. Nope.
Wow.
He says, "I don't race in air conditioning." Huh?
That's Bob Hanna. That sounds like him.
Yep. And
I'd have been finding another place to sleep. It was me. I can't do it. Yeah. Jeez. All right. I want to ask about MX Donations, because how many did you go to? I mean, you must have gone to almost every one.
Well, I went to probably about 10 of them.
Is that all?
Yeah.
You got to have almost always had guys racing it, though, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I was the team manager of the Motocross Nations.
For years, yeah. Okay.
No, 1 year. When no one was going, AMA called me up, said, "Hey, would you like to be the team manager?" I said, "Well, let's see. We've just won 13 in a row, okay? Okay, I'll do it." So I go. We're in Sweden. So we're there. That's the race where Albertine hit the deer. He was leading the race.
Oh, that was...
And the deer crossed the track, and
yeah.
Bam, he clobbered this deer. So anyway, I'm there.
Switzerland. It was Roggenburg.
Was it Switzerland?
I think it was Roggenburg, Switzerland.
That's
where the deer got hit. And
with the pigtails is? What's her name?
Oh,
Penny or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I'm the team manager. I have LaRocco, I have Emick, and I have Krudowski.
Okay.
Well, Krudowski just came off an injury. Okay. So, and now is when they really were stacking the deck. You know, everything was wide outside where the Americans were inside, you know, that kind of stuff. And
That track was like a freeway. I heard just 100
fast,
miles an hour.
Fast as can be.
Yeah.
So anyway, Paul Marlin, Herring, and, oh gosh, I can't think of the 500 guy from England. They win.
The Brits won, yeah.
Well, the 250 guy didn't even qualify to come to Unadilla to race the Grand Prix. That's how far he was out of the Grand Prix.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And now you got Paul Marlin, the 125 that Emmett should have him covered easily. You know? We end up losing to them. You know, like, out of the clear blue skies, these guys just put in a tremendous races.
Yeah.
You know?
It happens.
Yeah. And so if anybody has a trivia question and they say, who was the first team manager to lose the Motocross of Nations after 13 years of winning? That would be me.
Well, wear it like a badge of honor. Most people.
And guess what? That was my last shot at it.
Yeah, they didn't bring you back, huh?
But I used to go to 6 days, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I went to one in Poland and I went to one in Italy.
Okay.
You want to see a professional off-road program? The Italians.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. They bring their own chef. They bring their own hospital. They don't take any chances of guys getting sick off of the other country's food. I mean, they have this little bottle. I don't know, when they come into a special test, the guy takes off. And I was actually helping them because at that time Franco Cherby's was the importer. So I went over there to help the Italians. And, man, they treated me like a king. I mean, I was like over there eating good pasta, all this other stuff, and I go back and I go, hey, what'd you guys have tonight? Some more of that red beet soup? Because we were in Poland. And that seems to be the big soup was red beet soup.
Sounds delicious.
Oh, yeah, it was.
So of all those destinations that you went to, any of those stand out, good or bad?
Well, obviously the good ones were when we won.
Yeah.
The bad one is that one in
you covered
Farlington Castle.
Farley Castle.
Yeah, where it rained for like 15 days straight.
Oh.
And there were 600s in it, and they couldn't make it up the hills. And
it was Fox Hill.
Yeah.
Where they got stuck, and I think they had to cut the track.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was Fox Hill.
And here comes not Gabor's, Everett, Stefan. First lap. He comes by.
Track doesn't even look muddy.
No, he comes by. I'm sitting there going, wow, what that? Is there a restart or something?
Oh, he's that far ahead already?
Oh, yeah. He must have had a minute lead.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So it's like raining, still pouring. I mean, pouring. And I turn around, look at these spectators. I go, why are you here? You know,
go home.
Go home so I could go home. But that was probably the worst one I was ever at.
Was that maybe some of the worst mud you've seen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I also was at Italy when they start racing 125s against 450s and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the one where Johnny O'Mara I think he almost won or did win.
Oh, Majora,
yeah.
86? Yeah. He did win, yeah. Wow, you were at that one.
Yeah, yeah.
What a historic race to be at. I mean, that had to be...
That was the first time they mixed the classes.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, when it all started, there were 4 guys on the team.
That was like Trophy to Nations days.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it was
but you never threw nothing out. Okay? So we'd have 4 good guys. Most of those countries didn't have 4 good guys.
Right.
So then they went to 3 guys. Or you can count, 3 scores or something. And now it's, I guess you only have 3 guys on the team, you know?
Yeah.
And there's no throwouts or anything like that. But, yeah, after about 13 years, they got kind of tired of the Americans winning, and they tried to change it around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kind of helped them succeed. Somebody said to me one day, well, what happened? I said, I don't know. I was doing the triples. I was doing the whoops good.
You were doing your job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not – what are you going to do as a team manager that's going to change the outcome, really, right? I mean –
Well, to this day, I could have probably protested because of Albertine hitting that that deer.
The deer.
Because if anything unnatural happens, they're supposed to restart or something. But I think we needed a more than a restart that day.
Yeah, some days,
Right.
like I said, sometimes stuff just happens.
But those were cool. A lot of those motocross nations, when the opening ceremonies, like we were in a horse-drawn buggy and with the flags and a parade. I mean, it was really cool.
Pretty neat experience.
Yeah, and how about look at you again, back in America. Redbud.
Yeah. Do you know, I have never been to a Disnations.
We need to go to that one.
I'm planning on it. I've been actually talking with Stanton about coming back and doing a show a show at that event.
All right.
Maybe something unique.
Oh, yeah. I mean, maybe I was at more motocross nations than I think.
But is it different? It seems like while this event here will be cool, it's different in Europe. It's a little bit more. There's more pageantry. The fans are a little more enthusiastic there.
Well, the difference is there's people come from the country to support their racers there.
Yeah.
The Italians come with the flags and they come with the horns, the French, But, I mean, we don't know how much pageantry we had because of the bad weather last time.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and if they could pull it off in that one, I can't wait to see it because, Redwood's a really nice facility.
Well, it's the right track.
Right.
I mean, there's not a better facility for
Right.
it. The track is incredible. The Ritchie's just do an awesome job. So I'm going. One way or another, I'll be there. All right. So tell me what happened then from Scott to 100%. What changed?
Well, I guess the thing that really sold me on 100% is they still know I had a motor that was running.
Okay.
When I left Scott Watanabe wasn't there anymore, who hired me, and we worked together for 30 years. And it was a whole different atmosphere, more younger guys. I think some of them thought I was like over the hill. And Ludo called me. Says, hey, I'm starting a goggle company. Would you like to be involved? And I was 62 at the time. And my first reaction to him was, Ludo, I'm like 62. I'm not Colonel Sanders. I don't know if I could start a new career at 62. And he says, let me just talk to you. So I met with him and Mark Blanchard, the owners, in Vegas, and they offered me a nice deal, and I felt like they wanted me.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let me talk it over with my wife. Went home, and that Monday they called me. Well, what'd she say? I said, well, I'm going to come on board. Number one, I at that time, I could see what's happening to our industry is, personally, my personal opinion is, they're enthusiasts at 100%. Mark rides, goes to GPs, loves motorcycle racing, and he actually told me one time, because they had One Industries and sold it, and he said, I got back into this because I like having a pit pass, And Ludo, his MO is rode the Paris Dakar, rode Enduros, so I like that 100% is owned by enthusiasts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies in our industry that aren't enthusiasts, and you can actually, because I've noticed in the motorcycle industry, if it makes sense, don't do it. And those guys were, they started out, I mean, they hired me, they hired my son John Cuso, who, went to the Bevo School of Goggles, so it was good for him. They hired Scott Watanabe. He left Scott. And they actually had 90 years of experience with three guys, Yeah. And it's worked out well for me. I mean, they called me the ambassador,
Today they call that an influencer. So you're going to have to get your business card changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, Pring, since you brought up business cards. Over the years, I've got probably 3,000 business cards.
Is that right?
Yeah. How many do you think I used? 2.
2?
One was to clean my teeth.
All right.
Some people come up to you and they're walking at you and they reach into their pocket, they pull out their business card, slow motion, like, look who I am, right? And I usually grab it and go, thanks, I needed that.
Pick your teeth?
Yeah. So, anyway, that's why, the journey with 100% has been unbelievable. I mean, 10 years ago, I'd call up Ludo from a...
I can't believe it's already been 10 years.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I'd call Ludo like from a trade show and say, hey, we sold a couple Baker's dozen and a display, and we were like thrilled about it,
Mm-hmm.
But when I go to the shows, people come over, hey, how come you're at this booth? Well, this is who I'm with. And I'd see these people every year, and I'd tell them, hey, this is going to work for you. That's going to work for you. I wasn't telling them, hey, put stuff in that's going to sit on your shelf.
Yeah.
And when they saw me there, they kind of looked at it, and the product line came out. It was good right out of the chute. And improvements we're doing now, it's unbelievable what our goggles like, our Omega. And I just had an opportunity to have a rig and feed people,
Another year with a pit pass.
Yeah.
Tell me the difference between working with the guys you have now versus, say, 20 or 30 years ago. How's it changed for you?
For me?
Yeah.
All I do now is wish him luck. My son does all the work. He's got the more personal relationships than I do.
Gotcha.
Right now.
You're not really working with him one-on-one.
Right.
Yeah.
What I was doing is I have the personal relationship with our distributors and our reps and basically the motorcycle industry.
Yeah.
And can you do this for me on my back? Pat my back, because I don't want to. I'm very fortunate to have been well respected in this industry. I'm one of those guys, if I ask somebody a question, it's for my information. It's not for me to get on the horn and go, hey, do you hear what I hear? You know that.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in this sport.
Right.
Which is...
And people can trust me because when I ask somebody something, I could call up Bobby Reagan at Star and say, who are you hiring? And he'll tell me. Because he knows it's for my benefit. I'm not going to go say, hey, do you hear what who Star's hiring? And, and I can, I can talk to Roger about stuff like that. I go, but it's a trust I built in the industry. And, and I'm, it's just, it's amazing though that, unfortunately, I'm trying to outlast Roger to be the oldest guy out there.
I don't think Roger will ever leave. So you still got some years to go.
Oh well, but yeah. I also got some bills to pay.
Yeah.
But like I said, as far as the transition to 100%, it's great to know that we started here, and we're here.
Yeah.
I'm safe to say that we're probably one of the top 3 goggles in the world now.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. You guys have made big strides.
Hey, and I don't know if you watched the Olympics.
I haven't watched.
I'm not watching the Olympics. Okay,
Yeah.
That's my. Excuse me, gang. That's my personal deal. I'm not watching the Olympics. Not that I don't like the atmospheres. I just don't like the venue.
I'm not watching anything in China. Yeah, I'm out on the same reason.
We got a gold medal. The Australian snowboarder.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. We're actually introducing a ski version of the 100% in the fall.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's pretty exciting.
100%.com. What's the website?
100%.com.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. Tell me this. What's the difference between, if there is one, just in general, racers today versus racers back 70s, 80s? Are they the same? Or is like the personality and the type of person changed? You know what I mean?
Well, I think what has happened is, as we alluded to before, when money got involved, training facilities popped up, Bobby Reagan, big facility in Florida, KTM, they all have their practice tracks now.
Mm-hmm.
They get together. I mean, semis, it's all different. It's just
sport's completely different.
Yeah.
But are the athletes, the people, is it the same type of people? Or do you think it's changed?
No, I think the people are the same, but these people are I think most of them are most focused. Like you take Dylan Fernandez, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dylan, all he wants to do is win.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's here to win. Joe Shimoda from Japan. Dylan isn't Americanized. All he is motocross here.
Yeah. You can tell the guys, and I think Marv probably falls into this category too. They have no intentions of staying here when they're done racing. Like I imagine they're here to do a job.
Right.
That's all they're here to do.
Right.
It's 100% their focus. And
that's it.
And they're gone when
blinders.
They're
they don't care what's going on. They go riding the whole 9 yards. I mean, and I think you gotta really probably enjoy going to your mailbox and finding a check there every week too.
Well, the checks they're getting, yes.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that myself.
But that's as far as the stature of the guys. I mean, I think maybe they may be from years like early motocross. They're probably in better shape, and everybody's got a trainer and they got this and and even at the races, for the mechanics, they have a guy doing the tires, they got guys doing suspension, that's a lot different too. When I worked with Yamaha,
it's a completely different environment.
Oh, that's when they said works bike, that meant works bike.
I guess I just mean if you took the top 5 guys from Hannah's era,
right.
Hannah, Tripes, whoever were those top guys,
right.
Bell, Grossi, I don't know, whoever. And then you take the top 5 from today and just like look at the two groups, and maybe it's just a change of it's obviously just a change in the era.
Mm-hmm.
A little more gruff and unpolished, right, versus today. But is it still the same things that make a good racer? Not really so much for team sports. Like you want to be the guy that I want the results to be a reflection of what I do.
Everybody wants to be the big dog.
Yeah.
And I think the difference is they have a lot more at their
disposal.
They have a lot more things they can do. They come out and they practice all the time, and they have supercross tracks. They didn't have a supercross track back then to practice on.
No.
They didn't have that. They went to the supercross, and that was it. They didn't have a lights class. When you race supercross, you got on a line next to Hannah, you got next to Tripes, you got next to Bell.
Yeah.
If it's your first year, there was no learning process.
Well, even look at the cultural differences. If you look at the old school, the food pyramid that you and I learned in grade school.
Right.
That's so upside down, other than the sweets being at the pointy end.
Right.
They wanted you eating a boatload of carbs,
right.
And it's like, well, that's not really how it goes.
All right.
Cigarette smoking in the early 70s. They still tell you a pregnant mom, that's good for you.
Yeah.
Baby loves, menthol cigarettes. Yeah. So just that stuff has changed to where now you look at the meals,
You know what an energy drink was back then?
Coffee?
A Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, it was just a very different time.
Can you imagine Bolt? Remember that drink,
I
Bolt?
do remember.
Can you imagine?
Oh, Jolt.
Jolt,
Jolt, yeah.
Double sugar, double caffeine. If they'd have said energy drink.
Oh, man. Yeah, they'd have taken off. Would have been the start of it.
I mean, the thing that really amazes me is I often wondered when America got so tired when there was energy peanuts, energy gum, energy this, energy that. There's a difference right there. They have energy drinks. It's all different. They've got diets. I know. The funny part about it is when Hannah would win on a Saturday night, we'd go to in his hotel room, He'd bring up a half a gallon ice cream. He'd bring all this stuff of junk and eat just a little bit of each of it. And I guess I ended up eating the rest. But anyway, that was his reward.
Yeah.
I mean, I walked through the airport with Ricky Carmichael. He's winning. And you know what he got? A biscotti.
That was his big treat.
That was his trophy.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the only guy that really has a big trophy now is a treat is Jet Lawrence. He gets to eat a donut.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's why I say you watch, these guys will post on Instagram their meals, and it's like, you know, a measured out piece of chicken that's this many ounces, and then vegetables, and, you know, it's just everything that goes through that passes their lips is counted and
right.
you know, tallied up. It's different. It wasn't like that.
Nope.
Back in the day. You guys are probably going to, you know, Denny's or Waffle House to get dinner.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they thought protein was a deal. Carbs.
Yeah, carbs.
They'd eat spaghetti.
Carbo load. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, couple more questions here, buddy.
Oh, come on. I got 50 years.
What do you think about the coming electric movement? And this has kind of become a standard question for guys because we're at the doorstep of it, I think.
You mean motorcycles or everything?
Well, as it relates to the sport, I suppose. Which to me, it's silly. We're going to trade gasoline-powered engines for electric bikes and generators that run on gasoline to charge them at the track. But is the.
Let me put it this way, okay? I was telling you about that race in Italy when I had John Tomac.
Yeah.
Well, that was intermission. Okay, now you hear the bikes, the roar of a motorcycle. Then they come out and you hear, you got to have noise.
Yeah.
If they're going to have electric bikes, they better have some kind of noise because that's part of it.
It's a huge part of it.
Yeah. I mean, that brings out the excitement. I mean, how about if you have all these bikes going around, all you hear is, right?
Well, imagine going to a drag race.
Yeah.
And it just goes, zzz. You'd laugh, and 2 cars later, you'd head home.
No, now I imagine that's not a real scientific answer, noise, because then they'll say that's something that has to go away. But you can't. I think you would take away the excitement.
Yeah.
And a woods race, how long do those batteries last?
Not that long.
Not 4 hours.
Not 3 hours.
Right.
You know. Not going
because
fast.
a guy. Somebody asked me about, hey, what do you think about this woods bike for me, electric? And I said, where are you going to plug it in? A tree?
Yeah. Is there aspen trees out there with an outlet?
Yeah. I mean, so I personally believe this whole electric thing in the world, I'm not against it, but you got to work into it.
Yeah.
You just can't say, hey, this is the end of gas, this is the end of oil. Because how do you make electricity other than light? You know, there's not a Hoover Dam in every city. You know?
No, I know.
So, but I'm for it, but let's do it the right way.
Yeah, I agree with you. What about this World Supercross Series round? This is something I think that hasn't gotten nearly the traction that maybe it should, or the chatter, because this could shift really the way our sport looks potentially. These guys that are running this know what they're doing. They're big players and big events and big series. And if you start taking now the AUSX Supercrosses, the one down in New Zealand, you add in Bercy, Geneva, etc., maybe the Monster Cup or something in Vegas, and now you have a World Supercross Series that runs opposite of Feld Supercross Series. Someone's getting pushed out. Because riders aren't going to do all 3. Teams won't commit to all 3. If you start to look at just bottom line dollars and cents, I don't know how this looks if they're funding teams to ship bikes and do all this. But do you have an opinion on that?
Well, my opinion is I don't know much about it. Number one.
Okay.
But my opinion on it is that, you know, they tried going against the NFL with another deal. But the main deal is the factories, because they got the players. Wherever the factories go, or say they're going to go, that's going to be the important part of that. On the other hand, is you'll have guys that are decent Supercross racers, and maybe there won't be rides for them, and that may be an avenue for them. You know, I mean, I don't know. Can you do a Supercross series without the top names but have great racing?
I think you can.
You know?
Well, the rounds in Australia, they didn't have everybody. Brayton was the champion. Super successful for them.
Well, Brayton's a classic example. He's made a career out of doing overseas races. But I personally think head-to-head, then it's the factory. You know?
So who does the factory go with? Would they say, hey, we're going to do a Supercross-only program? Would they abandon national motocross?
Well,
is that even like that? That's a little concerning for me.
Well, the problem there is the nationals are our customers. It's for a lot of those people there, they own motorcycles. They want to see motorcycles. That's really the basis of our sport. Is Supercross is great. Don't get me wrong. It's great for the sport. It's also exciting. But the guy that could go walk on the dirt, walk and see people, that's what you as an enthusiast wants to see. The nationals, you know. You'll go to Supercross too because that's also a great show. But the nationals are definitely still important.
I agree with you. Like I said, this is just a concern to me. I feel like, wow, why aren't people talking about this more? Maybe just not enough information out yet. But, you know, maybe the guys who like Supercross and don't love the nationals go, okay, I'm going to do these two Supercross series. They'll pitch their employer that. And maybe the guys who like outdoors, maybe they say, hey, I'll do some GNCC or Works racing and the national series. And it kind of divides because it's almost already done that. Supercross and motocross, the gap keeps going like this and getting wider.
Right.
And it's rare. It's becoming more and more rare to find somebody that's equally good at both.
But the thing is, so you think that will overlap the nationals too?
Well, I don't see there. I mean, we don't have enough breaks. It would have to, you know? I don't know. I'm just curious. I didn't know what you knew about it. I just want to keep asking questions.
No, like I said, I'm not in the loop in any of that, but I believe that Supercross is important, and I believe nationals are just as important.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, but the problem is
here's the issue, though. I don't mean to cut you off, but teams and riders are looking for fewer races, and now here's this big promoter saying, "Hey, we're adding a series that has 6, 8, 10 rounds."
Well, why do the factories want less?
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody comes in and says, hey, we're going to pay you, you know? Better yet, where do they sell the most bikes?
See, and I don't know those. Those are the answers I don't have. If you have a global series that now is promoting your sales around the world, that could be enticing to them. Is it? I don't know. I guess I don't have any of those answers.
Well, right now, I would say that is that going to affect the Grand Prix?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, you got to showcase bikes on outdoors, and you got to showcase your bike indoors.
Yeah,
there's room for both of them. I don't know. I know nothing about the other guys or whatever, the Australian people. I know about the nationals that they're hard to do.
Yeah.
And you got to give them credit for basically MX Sports for taking the ball and trying to keep it alive.
Yeah.
You got to give them credit for that. And like I said, to me, they're both equally important. Now, I don't want to see, because I've gone through this thing with fights with different organizations, okay? Where AMA was fighting with another organization and all this other stuff, and all it did was like put our sport like backwards a little.
Yeah.
You know, till they got back to what we want. You know, and you know, I don't know. I mean, the happy medium is, well, you know, at one time paying, how many guys were doing like 7 or 8 Supercrosses in Europe after the season?
When the money was good,
Yeah.
everyone, if you got an offer, you were going. You know?
I used to go with Snat, and we went to Paris, we went to Belgium, Antwerp, we went to Geneva, all in a row.
Yeah.
Okay, so they seem to go after the carrot when it was there.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't think nobody has to bang heads.
Yeah. Well,
and the guys that want to go.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, it's gonna. There aren't enough months in a year to fit in 3 series.
Right.
So it's gonna overlap somehow, and I'm just curious what'll happen.
The series at the end of the year was the ones that guys were going to make extra money.
Yeah.
You know, and they were making pretty good money.
Mm-hmm.
But to say, okay, I'm going to pick this series over Felt or this series over the National, I don't think that's good.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I'm going to keep an eye on it. I just think it's really interesting.
Yeah, because you know, it's like my son races enduros, and he could use one of those Troy helmets. But anyway,
I think that's in your swag kit. I have to look.
But anyway, he races enduros, okay, and he watches Supercross, but he loves watching it. He likes watching enduros.
Yeah,
you know, and he's a dirt guy, you know. And like I said, he watches Supercross too, but there's room for everyone.
Agreed.
Because this is done in May, this is done in September, and whoever wants to do this one. But the main thing is the factories.
Yeah.
The factories won't do it. You know?
Yeah. Well,
and how can you throw all your eggs in one basket and say, oh, yeah, we're going with something that, you know, yes, you said they're organized. Yes, they have money. But, you know, so did the USFL.
Yeah.
They took Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
The #1 draft choice away from the NFL.
But I'm telling you, it's like Middle Eastern oil money. They have billions.
Okay.
So they've got money to spend, and that's what's scary to me is a rich, motivated person could come in and like you say, potentially fracture the sport to where we do take steps back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, imagine dividing the talent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not good for anybody. So just curious about it.
Well, like I said, what we have going right now seems to be working, and if they come in and they start taking some people away or whatever, well,
yeah.
What are you going to do?
You know, it's
the factory.
There is this too. Like you mentioned, maybe some of the guys at the end of their careers here, or there is a log jam right now of guys who would love to get out of the 250 class. They don't have a job to go to. There's no rides open.
Right.
Maybe it's some of those guys that go, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take a chance on this new series because they'll pay me good money to go.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't have a ride if I stay, or I got to stay in the 250 class. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. Last question for you, Bevo.
Well, all I hope is that it works out.
Yeah, same. I think we all want the best, but
because really at the end of the day, it's called dirt bikes.
Yeah.
You know, and it's people that real enthusiasts like the Nationals and Supercross, but you got to have the outdoors.
Yeah.
You have to.
I agree with you. How do you want to be remembered in this sport?
How do I want to be remembered?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, if you don't know I'm a hero by now, it's too late to prove it. You know.
Good point.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say that I like to be remembered in this sport, that somebody that couldn't ride a motorcycle very fast enjoyed motorcycle racing his whole life, number one.
Okay.
Number two, I just want to walk away with this thing and let people realize that even though I have fun and laugh, I give 100%, no pun intended. And, you know, and that actually there's some things I did with goggles, you know.
You created hospitality.
Well, not only that, I mean, like with the goggle strap. You know how that silicone came on the goggle strap?
Was that you?
Terry Cunningham, 8-time national champ. I went to sign him, and he goes, hey, I don't mind riding for you, but would you take any advice on the products? I go, yeah, that's what we do. We take goggles back every week and wash them to see how durable they are. What do you have on your mind? Well, I go through the woods and boom, boom, boom. My strap comes up. I said, well, you can't put Velcro there because you'd have a real trouble putting it on. I said to him, we were talking. I go, hey, how about those JT mud gloves with the dots on? Well, I got a couple pair of those. Had my sister-in-law sewed on straps. He used them. Great.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's how you came up with that, huh?
Yeah. There's some stuff I've come up with in goggle stuff, but, and you know who got the visor over the film system?
Who's that?
Eric Gabors.
Really?
Yeah, I went to Europe, and he had duct tape, and he'd fold it over, and then put the duct tape where it was folded over, and then put the last glue piece on there. And I came back, and I was doing that to the goggles, and everyone's going, wow, that's cool. But that was Eric Gabors that did that. So, I just like them to realize that what I did, I love doing. And some days I wish I was 27 instead of 47. Because it's been a fabulous life for me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I want to walk out of the industry and everybody goes, hey, where the hell's Bevo? How are we doing this race without Bevo?
Yeah. Well, you're an icon in the sport, and
thank you.
I've sure appreciated just your friendship over the years. Even when we don't talk for a while, when I see you, I just feel like we never left off.
Then I've done I've accomplished what I wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, like Brian Deegan, comes up to me all the time. Hey, people, how are you?
Yeah.
And I knew, now as a kid.
Yeah.
And then at the San Diego goes, I said, how, because I don't know, I'm not going to say, how's your dad, right? And I don't know if he's alive. And he said, oh, yeah, my dad's alive. Would you like to talk to him? I go, yeah. He gave me the phone number. I called him from San Diego. He loved it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that a little bit weird seeing
generation after generation?
Yeah. Because even I did a couple of those 125 races at the Nationals the last couple of years, and I'm seeing guys pass me, and I'm like, hey, Wageman, I knew your dad.
Hey. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, generations. I mean, I actually went generations and generations that retired.
Yeah.
Well, like Harry Everts and Stefan Everts and now his son.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Bevo, thanks, buddy. It's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time today to come on.
Hey, Ping, anytime you want to talk about the rest of my career, I'll let you know. Let me know.
Thanks, buddy.
I enjoyed it. And to all your viewers, I'm happy that Pingree has a show where he just wants to know the history.
That's it. All right.
That's good.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be back to wrap things up.
I wanna be bad with you, girl, like we're robbing a bank. I wanna be mad at the world, like it took you away. Don't wanna be mad at myself.
Welcome back, folks. I appreciate you guys tuning in today, and I really appreciate Bevo taking the time to come in. As we talked about, I've known him a long time, and a ton of respect for him. He's like Uncle Bevo. He's like that smiley uncle that brings a big bowl of pasta to Thanksgiving. And he's that same guy for everybody that's been in this sport over the past 30 years. Just a treasure. So I appreciate his time and stories. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, please support our sponsors. This is a program that just we can't bring you if we don't show some return on investment for those guys. And I do my very best to vet these people to make sure that if we align with them for this show, their products are absolutely stellar and worthy of you guys buying them. So check all of them out. Please give them at least a first look if you're in the market for any of those products. And we appreciate it. We got great content still continuing to come your way. We got some neat stuff planned here for the next couple of months, and excited to share it with you. So thanks for watching. The Whiskey Throttle Show is brought to you by Yamaha. Join the Blue Crew today and take advantage of all that Yamaha has to offer, including amateur racing trackside support, awesome Yamaha contingency, Jason Rain's demos and instructional classes, and frankly, the most high-performing motorcycles available on the market today. Whether you're looking for a 4-stroke, a 2-stroke, a side-by-side, a quad, a boat, a generator, Yamaha prides themselves on absolute top-level quality and reliability. Rev your heart with Yamaha and join the Blue Crew today. Sore necks, aching legs, tight backs. Our bodies aren't designed to be constantly tense. But what can we do about it? Help your body relax with TheraBody. TheraBody creates effective, natural solutions to take charge of your daily wellness. By combining education, innovation, and over a decade of pioneering technology, TheraBody makes wellness more accessible for everybody. A traumatic motorcycle accident led TheraBody founder Dr. Jason Westland to create the Theragun for his debilitating pain. Now the Theragun, the only physician-created percussive therapy device, uses a scientifically calibrated combination of depth, speed, and power to relax and release your deep muscle tension. Recovery Air is TheraBody's world-leading pressure compression therapy system that flushes out leg soreness so you can bring on peak performance. Most electrical muscle stimulation is ineffective. Instead, TheraBody's sleek Power Dot takes away the guesswork with an intuitive app that customizes intensity and placement so you recover faster. Regular foam rollers hurt. TheraBody's Wave series delivers powerful vibration and pressure to help you recover with less pain. Don't settle for mystery CBD. TheraBody's TheraOne range of topical and ingestible full-spectrum USDA-certified organic CBD products are redefining high-potency CBD for wellness and recovery. 250 professional sports teams exclusively use Theragun and other TheraBody products to take recovery into their own hands. Method Race Wheels, bringing you the lightest, strongest, fastest wheels in off-road for your truck, van, sprinter, UTV, or SUV. They've been dominating the Baja 500 and 1000 and every major off-road event around the world for years with high quality and performance. They also look amazing. They come in a bunch of different styles and colors for your rig, so check them out. You can get 20% off a set of wheels using our code Whiskey Throttle. No capitals, no spaces. 20% off using our code. Check them out. Also, coming soon, the R1M project. Method Race Wheels makes a dive into the motocross world. Stay tuned. Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear. They've got the brand new Scout line and GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Check out TroyLeeDesigns.com. SKDA is a moto graphics and seat covers company with several offices based around the globe. For too long, bikes and graphics have all looked the same. They just start to blend together. SKDA is working to change that. With super clean and unique design work, a bike with SKDA graphics stands out in a crowd and adds a touch of art to the world of moto. Hey, we need that. SKDA prides itself on providing premium customer service both before and after the sale is made. Visit SKDA online to view the current product range and get in touch with their team to get your bike refreshed. I want to just make a mention here that these guys, not only is their design way outside the box, very, very cool. They'll work with you on custom things. The products are incredible. Okay, they'll speak for themselves. But what's really awesome, and you'll notice this the minute you order one of these, man, they give you an email saying, hey, the product's been shipped. Hey, the product is here. It landed in this spot. Hey, it's coming today. Hey, your product's been delivered. They're just so good about staying in touch with you and letting you know where it's at. Customer service is 100%, and that's just something that's rare these days. Check out SKDA. Here at the Whiskey Throttle Show, we're all about supporting brands that support our sport. And there's one tire company that has never walked away from the sport of motocross and supercross, and it's Dunlop. When times got tough and the economy took a crash, Dunlop stepped up and stayed with our sport to support it and the athletes and individuals that love it. Their MX-53 line and MX-33 lines absolutely dominate this sport. Every national championship at the pro level has been won in the last decade, and nearly every single amateur national championship at Loretta Lynn's has been won on a Dunlop. So if you're looking for high performance, you're looking for amazing quality, and you're looking to support a brand that never turns its back on our sport, there's only one choice for you, and it's Dunlop. Pro Circuit is the leader in aftermarket performance and quality. Whether you're looking for a little more horsepower out of your engine, some quality hard parts to improve the way your bike feels and looks, better handling through suspension or linkage arms, Pro Circuit is where you need to stop. It's your one-stop shop. You can go in there and get everything you need to make your motorcycle go from average to exceptional. Pro Circuit's got enough number one plates on their wall to side an entire home, and there's a reason for that. They're very, very good at what they do. The highest quality products with one goal in mind, and that's winning. Check out ProCircuit.com. Nihilo Concepts is leading the way in aftermarket hard parts. With their secondary on-switch device, something that was much needed in this sport, they've been innovating and bringing new products to market. Their latest is the new Nihilo Run Cool brake pistons. They're designed to be stronger than stock and provide exceptional cooling performance with less brake drag. Most OEM calipers pistons are made from aluminum that just can't hold up to the heat and extreme demands of serious racing. When they get hot, the aluminum will distort, causing loss of hydraulic pressure and brake failure. Nihilo's Run Cool pistons limit the area that boiling hot hydraulic fluid is able to come in contact with the piston, leaving 2/3 of the piston volume in open air with breather holes to enhance the cooling ability. It's made of a proprietary stainless blend, which is better at dissipating heat. You have issues with brake fade or brake failure, check out Nihilo Concepts among their many amazing hard parts and carbon fiber parts and titanium. NihiloConcepts.com. Senna is the leader in motorcycle helmet communications. There's really two prongs to why this is important. One of them is safety. If you're a dad who's watching your kid out on a track, being able to communicate with him about a rider down or a track situation is imperative. You don't want him coming over a jump and seeing a rider down and getting himself involved in that. So from a safety aspect, it's huge. You can also coach them. So if you see them taking a line, doing something that they could be improved, it's very easy to just click a button and speak to them right in their helmet in real time. This has been a proven coaching technique used by many motorcycle coaches. There's also just the simple fun factor. Being able to chat with your buddy while you're out on a ride, share music between one another, answer phone calls. It just takes your riding experience to another level. So whether you're using the 50S or 50R connected through a mesh network in your helmet, or you're using a Tough Talk headset connected with one of those, Senna is the leader in quality and performance in motorcycle helmet communications. Check them out at Senna.com. Seat Concepts is the leader in motorcycle saddles. If you're looking for a new cover or a new seat entirely, Seat Concepts is the place to go. They make custom seat foams catered to your height, weight, riding ability, riding type. They also have waterproof covers and foams that will not break down if you ride in a lot of inclement weather. And they pride themselves on being much more comfortable than OEM or any other aftermarket company. If you're looking for a new seat or a new cover, Seat Concepts, there's nothing better. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the Polaris RZR 800s. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the... If you've got a little Grom that's looking to get started in the motorcycle world, the best way to get them going is on a Stasic bike. They've got multiple sizes, so from your very young Groms to those who are a little more grown up, you can start them safely. They've got controls that allow you to control the speed so he can't get going too quick. They can touch the ground. There's not a lot of noise to distract them. It's the perfect way to get your child involved in motorcycling at a very young age. And if you've got a kid who's already out ripping, there's series popping up all over. For those of you in Southern California, go to www.ameminicross.com and join their local series. If you're outside of this state, contact your local track and ask them about starting a Stasic class at your local track. Get over to Stasic.com and check out all they've got going on. Motul USA, we lean hard on these lubricants to keep us on the track and on the trail. And Motul has proven their quality over and over, most recently with their Dakar win with Ricky Brabeck. They're sponsoring Supercross teams. They're diving into our sport again full throttle, and we're stoked to have them on board. Amazing products, top to bottom. Motul USA, go check them out. OGIO is the leader in motorcycle storage solutions. As motocross riders, we need a gear bag, we need a helmet bag, a boot bag, a backpack, a travel bag, a hydration pack, maybe a tool kit to wear around your waist if you're on an off-road ride. OGIO makes all of that, and their products are absolutely top of the line. I've got stuff I've had for several decades, just to give you an idea of how long this stuff lasts. If you're not sure, ask around, talk to folks who've had some of this stuff, and they will confirm that OGIO's quality is absolutely second to none. So go check them out, OGIO_powersports.com, and look at all they've got to offer right now. You ever heard the phrase that the harder you work, the luckier you are? Well, at Luck Apparel, they believe in an acronym that kind of sums it up a little more simply than that: laboring under complete knowledge. So it isn't just some random chance that determines what your outcome or results are going to be. It's being educated and working your butt off to get it done. And I think that that goes hand in hand with the motocross industry. You don't get lucky into a win. You work your ass off and you make it happen. So check out Luck Apparel. They've got t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, all kinds of cool stuff. And we're stoked to have them on board here at the Whiskey Throttle Show in 2022. If you're in the market for a toy hauler trailer, cargo trailer, look no further than Custom Outfitters, one of our new partners for this year. These guys do an awesome job, even so far as to dial in the inside of Sprinter vans, which have become the new standard moto transportation for moto. These guys can handle it all. They use ATC world-class trailers, top shelf service and performance in their products. Custom Outfitters out of South Dakota doing an awesome job. We're stoked to have these guys on board this year. So whether you're looking to just do some camping with the family, looking for a trailer that can fit all your toys to go out to the desert or wherever, look no further than Custom Outfitters. And finally, last but not least, Specialized Bicycles. If you are in the market to start pedaling, this is where you want to start. They've got great entry-level bikes all the way up to the Cadillac, the new Levo e-bike, anything in between, man. It doesn't matter what kind of riding you're doing. Go check out and start with Specialized. Don't waste your time on something that's going to break. The derailler's not going to shift after a couple months. Get something quality. These guys make it. Specialized leads that industry. Thanks for tuning into another MPH video, Moto E Performance and Health, with Coach Rob Beams. Coach, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I want to talk today about blood work and why that's important, and sort of aside from the things we learn regarding different deficiencies,
sure.
Also how that plays into food allergies,
yeah.
and how big that is. I've had both of these done. I had a very comprehensive panel done maybe 10 years ago, and I found out I had this weird industrial solvent called xylene in my blood, and they were really concerned about it. We were trying to figure out where it came from. I was thinking like a solvent tank or contact cleaner or something like that. Turns out it was Glade plugins that we have all over our house. It's a very sweet, aromatic industrial solvent, and so it's used in a lot of things like that.
I'll be damned.
So we pulled all that out. They said, yeah, if it's in your blood, it's in your
everybody's
kids and your wife and your dogs and everything else. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff that comes out of this.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on blood work?
Well, blood work's pretty amazing because if you look at the cell as the foundation of life, you know, cells make up tissue, tissue makes up an organ, series of organs make up a system. Yeah, I mean, when your blood's out of line, what's always fascinating to me when you look at our mantra is health, wellness, then performance. If you're constantly deficient on vitamin D, you're constantly deficient on, you know, go even an electrolyte route, you're always low on potassium or whatever it may be, what better indicator that you need to change something?
Right.
You know, if it's out of range, like you were saying, if it's something that becomes toxic, what would be the catalyst for that? What's its source? When we look at blood ranges from a health and a wellness standpoint, and we can kind of go down a bunny trail about what is a blood panel really telling you? If you do some research, you'll realize that a blood panel is not actually a snapshot of health. It's the absence of disease. A lot of people don't realize that. So when we say we're in range, what is that really in range of? And take it a step further. Take someone like yourself where fitness has been a part of your life, your entire life, and you're getting run through the same evaluation criteria as in range or out of range. I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Not as a soapbox, but just from a general principle standpoint. So when you look at the health of the cell is going to be in some range. I always look at it, if you're out of range, what would be the catalyst for that? You're burning it too fast. Maybe you're not eating enough of something that has a vitamin D or a B vitamin in it, or maybe you're not absorbing what you're eating. So to me, in an ideal world, I would like everybody to have their blood work done once a quarter. I know that's not always fun. I hate needles myself, but if you can get through the logistics of it, because if I'm only working on a 12-week window, I personally know what your volume of training is from an intensity standpoint. I know what you've done from a duration standpoint and from a frequency. Those are the three variables that I look at. How often are you working out? How long and how hard? Well, I can look at what you've put the body through, supplement that with your sleep log, supplement that with your food log, and then I get blood work. I've got a snapshot.
Yeah.
What's working, what's not working, where do we need to adjust? So if you're out of range on a micronutrient or even a macronutrient for that matter, I can look at your nutrition. Maybe we need to eat more of it. Mm-hmm. If you've got enough coming in and you're still out of range, maybe it's an absorption issue. And then we're back to the third variable. You're just burning it up quicker and you can get it in. When you look at, just as a general rule of thumb, for the listeners, take your body weight and add a 0 to it. Just use that as a basis number on how many calories you need to take in on a daily basis. So when we look at all of those, take that quantity of numbers. So if I weigh 150 pounds, that's 1,500. If I divide that by 75, that's how many calories are in an extra large egg. How many eggs do you need to eat on a daily basis to meet that 1,500 calories? And I only use that for math and illustration purposes because I don't know about you, but I eat a 3-egg omelet. I feel stuffed.
Yeah.
So when you look at food quality, it's nutrient dense, but it's calorically anemic. And you got to try to bridge 1,500, and that's just to sustain life. That's not what you're burning in the form of exercise. That's what's great about these Garmins. They'll give you your calorie burn rate. Well, if I know what your average heart rate and your max heart rate is for that duration, I know what your calorie burn rate is. What are you doing to replenish it?
Gotcha.
Those blood ranges are incredibly helpful because if you're out of range, maybe you need to eat more. But if you have to eat 37 eggs in a day to break even, it's hard to get that volume met. And that could cause you to be out of range as well.
Well, the farts from that kind of situation are just unimaginable, too. That's a lot of eggs. So there's a few other things I really love about blood work. One, if you have something genuinely wrong with you, some type of pathophysiology, it'll alert you of that.
Yep.
And I think for everybody that's important, right? I mean, we catch a cancer early or a something else.
100%. We
can usually get, if we catch it early enough, we can
get in front of it.
Correct it,
That's
right? But it's when somebody doesn't go to the doctor for years and years.
Sure.
They go, oh, yeah, that's been hurting for a while now. And you're like, well, you're stage 4 cancer. Nothing we can do.
No.
Also, the food allergy side of it. Mm-hmm. I think that's another, it kind of ties along into blood work. I also found out through this extensive panel I did, which was through Red Bull, ironically enough, that I had a mild allergy to eggs. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was just the yolk.
Okay.
And then a pretty legit allergy to milk, among a couple other little things. But I never had any kind of reaction to those.
Sure.
But they said, yeah, your body is having an inflammatory response to those foods, particularly the milk. And they said, I do not recommend you drinking milk.
Right.
The eggs was like, it was low enough. He goes, the upside's probably outweighing the downside. But I had no idea. You know, I mean, not that I drank a ton of milk anyway, but I was like, wow, okay, I'm off milk,
Well, and you bring up two very, very important variables. Number one, there's a difference between being sensitive to something and being allergic to something. Mm-hmm. I've never talked to anybody who decided to go gluten-free that didn't say they felt better. I understand that. But there's also nutritional value to what's in grains and stuff.
Sure.
My point is, unless you've been diagnosed with celiac disease, you get raging diarrhea, GI distress, you don't have you're not allergic to it. You don't have a disease. You may have a sensitivity to it. And that's where I think it gets a little bit, especially, when you look at Google and you look at, everybody becomes an expert. Everybody wants, not everybody, but certain people will go and try to promote an agenda, follow the money. There's usually an agenda behind it. But I'll give you a perfect example because you brought up milk. I have a client who can eat yogurt, no problems whatsoever, has a glass of milk, huge adverse reaction to it. So does that mean he's lactose intolerant? Because that's what he got labeled by a registered dietitian. No disrespect to registered dietitians, but to me, when you can eat yogurt that has lactose and you can drink milk and has lactose and have different reactions, that means you have a sensitivity to milk that you don't have to yogurt because they both have lactose in it.
Well, there's got to be something. Is there casein protein in the milk that's not in the yogurt or something like that?
But to say we're not going to have these products because it's an entire category.
Right.
That's where food logs come in my opinion, because you could have maybe not drank milk for a while, all of a sudden have a glass of it. Just for the listeners, I suggest that you weigh yourself every morning and every night. You should always be 3 to 5 pounds heavier at night, because if you're drinking water and you're properly hydrated, you're snacking on fruits and vegetables that are high in water, you should always be heavier. Why is that? Because you notice in the morning you're always 3 to 5 pounds lighter. Well, you didn't work out all night long. Breathing, bodily functions, you lose weight, right? You lose water weight. So you always want to be heavier at the end of the day than you are in the morning. But look at your Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday. If you've had an inflammatory response, because you got to know, is the inflammatory response because you rode or because of something you ate? Well, if you haven't been on the bike in 3 days and you're up 5 pounds in the morning, you had a sensitivity to something. Your food log can help you start to pinpoint it.
Right.
It's not as complicated as people think it is. You just have to have a little bit of documentation that you can really make some executive decisions with. Just be careful stripping an entire food group, because you get labeled in a textbook.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the milk, they broke it down. It was the casein protein in milk.
And that makes sense.
And that was my one thing. They said you got to stay away from this. Yep. Yeah, and there's certain protein powders that are casein protein. I'm like, whoa,
can't do it.
I got to get away from that.
Yep.
So,
but there's alternatives, which is great.
Yeah.
Like my wife, Michaela, she has sensitivities to lactose. So there's lactose-free milk. Doesn't mean she can't drink milk. She just does the lactose-free because she has a sensitivity to lactose, but she's not lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
Again, you put a big label on it, you can strip a lot of nutrients out of a particular group.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that, my allergy or sensitivity might have just been I get the farts.
Sure.
Where people think, oh, you're allergic to milk, you go into full anaphylactic response. No, but I don't want anything that causes me to inflame, right?
No.
I mean,
well,
if we can avoid those things.
But you bring up a good point, how it just gets embellished.
Yeah.
What's sensitivity? What is intolerance? That's why I don't like labels.
Yeah.
Find how your body responds to everything you do and everything you eat.
Yeah.
Across the board. And blood work definitely helps you, like you said, because you can at least start on why something is or isn't out of range. Can you imagine if all of a sudden you come back and you're low in calcium and you didn't realize it was because you took milk completely out as a category and it's a great source of calcium? Sure, you can get it from green leafy vegetables and other things like that, but if nobody told you that and you didn't, what you lost over here, you didn't make up with another food group, all of a sudden you're out of range. See the domino effect of that?
Sure, and a lot of times, you and I have talked about this on my blood panels. If you're low in certain things, it's because your body's stealing it because it didn't get this food. It'll kind of rob Peter to pay Paul.
Well, you bring up, in my opinion, one of the most amazing things about the human body. This thing is very absolute. If it runs out of gas, it's sitting on the side of the track. If this thing runs out of oil, it's grenaded. We run out of fuel, we can still keep functioning.
Yeah, we'll start to eat ourselves.
That's exactly right. But like you said, your body will, all of a sudden, instead of creating energy this way, it's got the ability to spin, and we're designed incredibly well to overcome and adapt. This doesn't. It's absolute. When it's done, which makes us very dangerous to ourselves, because we talked on another show about not getting enough sleep. Well, the body still functions even though it's sleep deprived. We may be enduring a tremendous amount of stress, personally, professionally, financially, athletically, but it'll still keep firing until it simply says, I've got a label, adrenal fatigue, Epstein-Barr. Once we get labeled, then it's interesting how these characteristics take on a totally different weight, and then we start paying attention. Well, now you're in rehab versus prehab. You're in reaction versus proactive. I mean, whatever cliche you want to put on it. Like you're saying, blood panel, get it done consistently. But here's the frustrating part. Do something with the info.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense to get the info and go, oh, wow, I'm still out of range as I was 6 months ago. It's not going to get any better.
And also, to that point, is have somebody that understands what those numbers mean. And that's not necessarily your doctor.
Right.
Have someone like yourself who understands sports physiology go through that with you and figure out why.
Absolutely.
Because the doctor will say, well, you're low on this. Here, let me give you more pills.
That's right.
That's
and
what
are
they
the
do.
pills made out of? Synthetic.
Yeah.
And that's what becomes so frightening. Again, I've said this in previous shows, I'm not a hellfire and brimstone guy. I don't live in a glass house. I don't buy organics. If you looked at the majority of the food, I would say it's probably 10% of our total, because we can't find it. We're in Orlando. There's not very many places that sell it. The perish rate is very high, and so I don't want the listeners to think, oh, he only eats organic, must be nice. No, I don't. I eat the perimeter of the store, and I understand there might be a wax on my apples and there might be some gas in my grapes that I buy, but I got to eat something.
I got to eat something.
You know, and I'm not a good farmer.
Yeah.
I'm in Florida. I have bad dirt.
Yeah.
I would starve. I could probably grow one thing. Weeds. That's about it.
Those are tough to eat. Well,
not very nutritious.
There's a lot more information if you guys want to get over to CompleteRacingSolutions.com. Rock can help you out over there. A ton of information for free. You can also step up to their membership levels and
Always happy to
get
help.
very, very involved. So thank you as always.
Thank you,
Stay
Ben.
tuned. We're going to have more MPH videos coming.
Thanks for watching the Whiskey Throttle Show, now available on the Spot Network, an independent standalone streaming platform live now on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Google Play, Android TV, most smart TVs, and all phones and tablets. Look for future live shows and specials only available on Spot Network. Download the app today on your favorite device. And don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell to get alerts for all the latest content. Follow us on Twitter at W_throttle_show and on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Whiskey Throttle Show.